Okay, can you hear me better now? Hopefully, there's no background noise. Uh, Unfortunate parts of working from home. Okay, all right. So we are live. If I'm not wrong, hopefully people can see us on the Sportstar YouTube channel. For those of you who are joining us today at 7 p.m., welcome to our first ever PKL YouTube live stream. Sportstar has been diligently covering PKL for a couple of years, but we've never really gotten around to speaking to our readers or just the community out there about the league and about what goes on in the league. We've managed to do a few Twitter spaces the last time around, but the bandwidth for that has been like abysmally low this time. So we thought on the break day, we'll just come and speak to all of you about things that have happened in the past week. ये वीडियो एक हिंदी और इंग्लिश का मिक्स होगा। यहाँ पे दोनों जो लोग बैठे हैं उनकी हिंदी परफेक्ट नहीं है, तो प्लीज़ माफ़ कीजिए अगर कुछ इधर-उधर हो गया प्रोनाउंसिएशन में। बट हम बात करेंगे इस हफ्ते के प्रो कबड्डी एक्शन के बारे में। मेरा नाम लावण्या है और मेरे साथ मेरे कॉलीग हैं मयंक। हाय मयंक।
हाय लावण्या।
रेस्ट मिला आपको एक दिन का? रोज ब्लॉग नहीं करना पड़ रहा है आज?
जी बिल्कुल।
Perfect. All right. So इस एक वीडियो में we're going to try and make this a little short because ये पहला एपिसोड है. This was sort of a way for us also to sort of see कि कैसा करते हैं, how we can just go about this live or what kind of things we can talk about in this episode. तो इस एपिसोड में what we will try and do is इस हफ्ते में जो भी major talking points थे, because ये पहला हफ्ता है लीग का, तो जो भी initial talking points है, initial predictions है, उनके बारे में थोड़ा बात करेंगे. बहुत सी चीजें हुई इस हफ्ते प्रो कबड्डी में, तो देयर इज अ लॉट टू टॉक अबाउट. एंड ऑफ कोर्स वील डाइसेक्ट टीम बाय टीम परफॉर्मेंसेस कैसा था, हर एक टीम की परफॉर्मेंसेस उनके पहले 2-3 मैचेस में कैसे रहे हैं और आगे जाके उनको शायद इम्प्रूव क्या करना पड़ेगा, या एक जो स्टैंड आउट चीज़ है जो मे बी उसके ऊपर टीम बन सकता है या उनकी परफॉर्मेंसेस बढ़िया हो सकते हैं. इस सब के बारे में हम बात करेंगे इस एपिसोड में. So to start with, obviously we wanted to speak about 3 talking points that have emerged from the league. And I mean, obvious talking point तो यही है ना मयंक, की पवन का जो इंजरी था वो थोड़ा एंटी क्लाइमैक्टिक हो गया. हम लोग एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे थे कि ये एक नया टीम ज्वाइन कर चुका है बेंगलुरु बुल्स में इतना सक्सेसफुल होने के बाद, और यहाँ आके पहले ही मैच में पहले वो उतना रेड नहीं मारते. उसके बाद जब सेकंड, वो रेड भी नहीं था ये, जब वो डिफेंस कर रहे थे, एक सुपर टैकल अपॉर्चुनिटी थी, तब उनका ये एक वेरी अनफॉर्चुनेट इंजरी हो गया. तो यू वर वाचिंग दैट मैच, उसके बारे में आप थोड़ा बताना चाहेंगे?
हाँ बिल्कुल. Like as you rightly mentioned that the major talking point about the last week has definitely been Pawan Sehrawat's injury. Like हमने देखा कि कैसे पहले मैच में like जय उदय कुमार की जो टीम थी पवन सहरावत पे, जिन्होंने 2.26 करोड़ रुपीस खर्च किए थे, like उनका जो टोटल पर्स था 4.4 करोड़, उन्होंने मेजरली 50% से ज्यादा पवन सहरावत पे खर्च कर दिए. And while playing against Gujarat Giants, he was attempting a thigh hold against the captain Chandran Ranjit, and then he twisted his right knee, और वो काफी अनफॉर्चुनेट इंसिडेंट रहा तमिल थलाइवास के लिए. ऑल्दो कोच ने ये कहा कि हम ओवर डिपेंडेंट नहीं है पवन सहरावत पर, लेकिन मुझे जहां तक नजर आ रही है कि टीम ने 2 मैचेस खेले हैं, एक उन्होंने गुजरात के साथ ड्रॉ किया और अगला वो हार गए. तो मुझे लग रहा है कि द टीम इज डेफिनेटली मिसिंग पवन सहरावत, द हीरो ऑफ PKL as we can say. But let's see how things will start panning for Tamil Thalaivas in the next coming few days.
Fair enough. ये जो players missing की बात है, it's not just people getting injured. There were also a few very major players who a lot of money was spent for in the auction who were conspicuously missing in the first week. And अगर आप लोग PKL रेगुलरली देखते हो तो आपको पता लग ही जाएगा कि the likes of फजल अतराचली या मोहम्मद इस्माइल नबी बख्श नहीं थे उनके टीम्स के लिए. एंड लक भी देखो, दोनों एक ही टीम में है, तो दैट वन टीम एंडेड अप, फनीली इनफ इट डिडंट शो कि वो लोग उन्हें मिस कर रहे थे, which we will talk about when we discuss Puneri Paltan later on in this episode. But एक जो मेजर टॉकिंग पॉइंट था वो ये था कि ईरानियन प्लेयर्स को आने में थोड़ी देर लग गई, बिकॉज देयर वर सम वीजा इशू हैपनिंग देयर, और उनकी ट्रैवल में भी थोड़ा डिले हो गया. As of right now, what we know is the Iranian players, at least a bunch of them, including people like Shadlu, who featured in the first match earlier this week, they've made their way back to India. What we see in a couple of stories being reported elsewhere, or even with what the broadcasters were telling us, is they've come in via Sri Lanka. अब ये ऑब्वियसली उनसे पूछ के ही पता चलेगा कि किस तरह से आए हैं, कैसे आए हैं, if they're okay, how their recovery is going after such long travel. But the news for now, at least for the three major Iranians in the league, which is Fazal, Nabi Baksh, and Shadlu, are that all of them are in India, uh, despite the team missing their services early on in the league. So we'll see how that impacted these teams, which is primarily Patna Pirates and Puneri Paltan, when we take a look at their performances later on in this episode. पर उसके पहले तीसरा जो टॉकिंग पॉइंट है वो ये ऑब्वियसली है कि कुछ रूल्स बदले हैं इस सीजन में. तो मयंक, कैन यू टेक अस थ्रू व्हाट द रूल चेंजेस हैव बीन दिस टाइम?
या फॉर श्योर. जैसे कि हम सब जानते हैं कि कैसे प्रो कबड्डी लीग ने कैसे मैट को इंट्रोड्यूस किया, और ये सब तो चलिए पुरानी बात है, 9 सीजन बीत चुके हैं. वी नो ऑल द न्यू रूल्स, डू और डाई रेट्स एंड सुपर रेट्स एंड सुपर टैकल, सुपर 10, एवरीथिंग. बट द मेजर टॉकिंग पॉइंट हैज बीन द थ्री न्यू रूल्स, which I guess many of are aware of that. But yeah, there are few people which who don't know the three new rules. So the three major the tweaks that have that PKL has changed is, the first major rule has been the lobby rule. जैसा कि हमने पिछले सीजन में देखा था, मोहम्मद नबी बख्श जो बंगाल के लिए रेड कर रहे थे बेंगलुरु बुल्स के खिलाफ, उन्हें 8 पॉइंट्स गिफ्ट किया गया था. मैं गिफ्ट ही कहूंगा क्योंकि अब उस रूल को ट्वीक कर दिया गया है. तो मैं लॉबी रूल क्या है, तो बेसिकली व्हेन अ रेडर गोस इनटू अ रेड एंड अगर वो डिफेंडर को बिना टच किए हुए लॉबी में बाहर जाता है तो ही विल बी कंसीडर एज आउट. लेकिन जो भी डिफेंडर्स उनको फॉलो करते हुए लॉबी के बाहर जा रहे हैं या लॉबी में जा रहे हैं, उन्हें भी आउट कंसीडर किया जाता था. लेकिन ये 8 पॉइंट रेड के बाद ही काफी कंट्रोवर्शियल हो चुका है, इसीलिए पीकेएल ने बड़े ही शांति से इस रूल को हटा दिया है. अब कोई भी रेडर अगर लॉबी में बाहर जाएगा तो ही विल स्टिल बी कंसीडर एज आउट, बट दोज डिफेंडर्स जो उनको फॉलो कर रहे होंगे वो सेफ रहेंगे फॉर एज ऑफ नाउ. और जो दूसरा मेजर अपडेट हुआ, जो रूल्स में चेंज आया है, वो है लार्जर मैच डे स्क्वाड्स को अलाउड किया गया है. लाइक पहले 12 प्लेयर स्क्वाड अलाउड थी, अब उन्हें 2 बढ़ा के 14 कर दिया गया है. इट्स अ लॉन्ग सीजन. हम देखते हैं कि कैसे लोग प्लेयर्स इंजर्ड हो जाते हैं. इट्स इंजरी प्रोन स्पोर्ट, आई कैन से फॉर द लीस्ट. सो ये देखते हुए आई गेस ये डिसीजन लिया गया है. और जो तीसरा रूल है वो भी इसी के इर्द गिर्द घूमता नजर आ रहा है, जो कि सब्स्टिट्यूशन रिलेटेड है. पहले हम ये देखते थे कि 5 सब्स्टिट्यूशन अलाउड था और एक हाफ टाइम में, तो टोटल 6 सब्स्टिट्यूशन टीम कैन डू. बट राइट नाउ अकॉर्डिंग टू द न्यू रूल, a team can change up to 8 players, 7 in the normal time and 1 in the time out. So technically पूरी की पूरी नई टीम आप खिला सकते हो. सो ये बहुत ही बढ़िया चेंज लगा मुझे. तो एक टीम को वाइबिलिटी मिल जाती है कि एक लार्जर स्क्वाड को खिला सके, और डेप्थ के अकॉर्डिंगली, मैच के अकॉर्डिंगली अच्छे डिसीजन मेकिंग के थ्रू आप इस नए रूल्स को अच्छे से एक्सप्लॉइट कर सकते हो.
एब्सोल्युटली. तो ये रहे 3 टॉकिंग पॉइंट्स इस हफ्ते का. बहुत सी ऐसी चीज़ें भी आएंगे जो हम आगे जाके बात कर पाएंगे व्हेन टीम स्टार्ट गेटिंग अ लिटिल मोर प्लेइंग टाइम. तो वी लीव दोज सॉर्ट ऑफ डिस्कशंस और हाउ दीज things like higher substitutes and all are being really smartly used by teams for our analysis through this episode and through our other little live streams that we'll do every Thursday. अगर आप हमारे साथ अभी जुड़ रहे हैं, आई कैन सी अ कपल ऑफ पीपल हैव जॉइंड दिस स्ट्रीम. अगर आप हमारे साथ अभी जुड़ रहे हैं, this is just to tell you that this is the first ever time that Sportstar is getting down to do a PKL live stream, and PKL is one of the leagues that we really like covering. We go all out when PKL comes on, so please join us every Thursday at 7 o'clock. Matches नहीं होते Thursday को, तो we still keep the PKL action and the conversation going on Sportstar. So do make sure you come in here and check out what we're doing. Also, we have live blogs running every day. Match day ke din we run blogs for every single match, and we blog play by play action. So if you're busy doing something else, or if you can't catch a match, or agar us din cricket chal raha hai to kabaddi kaise dekhe, and if you have these kind of things going on in your life, you can always keep up with the game on our live blogs. हम जो लोग हैं इस वीडियो में, हम ही लोग ब्लॉग कर रहे हैं इन मैचेस को. तो अगर आपको blogs में कोई feedback भी देना है, then you know who to find on social media. We will drop all of our resources, that is all the content that we've got, all the exclusives that we plan to put out, and links to just league resources like the rules, or where you can track the points table, where you can track the top raiders of the season. We'll put all of those resources in the description of this video for you to check out. Okay, Mayank, let's get down to the business of this video now. Please get us started with the first team that we want to analyze.
जी बिल्कुल। हाँ, तो जैसा कि हम सब जानते हैं कि पीकेएल स्टार्ट हो चुका है और नवीन एक्सप्रेस अपने रफ्तार में दौड़ती नजर आ रही है। उनकी टीम टाइटल डिफेंड करना है उन्हें, और मुझे कहते हुए कोई शक तो नहीं हो रहा है, क्योंकि काफी जल्दी है, अभी जल्दबाजी होगी कहना, लेकिन मुझे ये दिख रहा है कि ये टॉप कंटेंडर्स होने वाले हैं इस साल के भी टाइटल उठाने के लिए। सो हमने देखा कि दबंग दिल्ली हैज प्लेड 3 मैचेस, उन्होंने तीनों मैचेस खेले, और तीनों मैचेस में वो एक अलग टीम नजर आती हुई मुझे दिख रही है। जिस तरीके का उनका डिफेंस है, जिस तरीके से उनके रेडर्स एक दूसरे को कॉम्प्लीमेंट कर रहे हैं, तो ये एक बहुत ही सदी हुई, बहुत ही बैलेंस टीम है, जो कि अपने अभी तो उन्होंने स्टार्ट ही किया है। मैं क्या बोलूं, 3 में से 3 जीत तो जस्ट झलकी है कि आगे क्या क्या होने वाली है। जिस तरीके से उनके टॉप रेडर्स, देखिए नवीन एक अलग लीग के खिलाड़ी है, वो हम सबको पता है कि नवीन है, तो नवीन विल परफॉर्म, लेकिन उनके साथ साथ जो उनको जो कॉम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए अंशु मलिक या मंजीत, इनकी जो तिकड़ी है, अंशु मलिक, मंजीत और नवीन की जो तिकड़ी है, इन तीनों ने, मैंने एक स्टैट लिख के आया है कि इन तीनों ने 76 पॉइंट्स उठाए हैं 3 मैचेस में, जिसमें कि टीम ने 138 पॉइंट्स उठाए हैं। तो अब सोच लो कि 50% से ज्यादा कन्वर्जन रेट ये तीनों खिलाड़ी लाके दे रहे हैं। और कोई कोई टीम पीकेएल में उतनी बैलेंस टीम नहीं है, जिन जो ज्यादातर इधर रेडर्स पे डिपेंड हो रहे हैं या फिर डिफेंडिंग में डिपेंड हो रहे हैं। ये टीम जितने पॉइंट्स रेडिंग में ला रही है, उतने ही पॉइंट्स डिफेंस में भी लेके आ रहे हैं। 3 हाई स्कोरिंग मैचेस इन्होंने खेले। पहले मैच में इन्होंने युमुम्बा, जो ओपनर था, उसमें 41-27 से युमुम्बा को हराया। युमुम्बा थोड़ी डगमगाती नजर आ रही थी, बट विल टॉक अबाउट युमुम्बा लेटर। एंड देन उन्होंने गुजरात को 53-33 से हराया। लाइक 53 is the highest score till this time in this PKL season, और उन्होंने 20 पॉइंट्स का डेफिसिट गुजरात को थमाया, जो कि इस सीजन की सबसे बड़ी जीत भी है। और तीसरे मैच कल उन्होंने एक बहुत ही बढ़िया शानदार मैच में अपने राइवल प्रदीप नरवाल की टीम यूपी योद्धा को 2 पॉइंट से मात दी है। तो ये टीम बहुत सॉलिड लग रही है। इन टीम के पास विशाल कृष्णन और रवि के रूप में 3 बेहतरीन डिफेंडर्स हैं, जो कि आपस में मिलके एक बहुत सॉलिड बैलेंस दे रहे हैं इस टीम को। तो मैं क्या ही बोलूं इस टीम के बारे में, मैं बहुत इंप्रेस्ड हूँ इस टीम से।
बट टू बी फेयर, अगर आप डिफेंस की बारे में बात कर रहे हैं, देन इफ यू लुक एट द यूपी योद्धा गेम, टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट, दे वर अप अगेंस्ट वन ऑफ द बेटर डिफेंडिंग टीम्स इन द लीग। यूपी योद्धा में लीक्स नहीं होती, पर इफ यू लुक एट दिल्ली, देन यू हैव कृष्ण दुल ऑन वन साइड हु इज डूइंग लाइक अ रियली गुड जॉब। उसने वो राइट कवर जो है अपना ही बना दिया है। बट व्हेन यू लुक एट संदीप, then you see the leak there. You don't really see him being able to hold points. You don't see him being able to control how much people are coming in and pulling in bonuses from under his foot. So Delhi Raiders भले ही अच्छा कर रहे हैं, नवीन is a given, which is why हम लोग बार बार ये बात करते रहते हैं कि नवीन की जो वर्कलोड है उसे बहुत केयरफुली देखा जाना चाहिए। बिकॉज एक टाइम पे ये और बंगाल वॉरियर्स, दे आर बोथ कंप्लिसिट इन द सेम काइंड ऑफ क्राइम। वो लोग दोनों ही, मनिंदर और नवीन को पूरा जो रेडिंग की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है उन्हीं के कंधों पे थमा जाते हैं, इवन इफ दे हैव सपोर्ट रेडर्स। So in Delhi, what really works this time is you have people like Manjeet. Manjeet has been really good. Yesterday, his 10 points made the difference, क्योंकि
Yeah.
नवीन की जो स्टार्टिंग की गति थी उस मैच में यूपी योद्धास के अगेंस्ट, आई डोंट नो व्हाट इट वाज, बिग मैच की सिनेरियो की नर्व्स थी या क्या थी, उनकी स्टार्ट बहुत ही धीरे चली उस मैच में। सो ही टुक हिज टाइम, उसका जो सुपर 10 था, ही टुक हिज टाइम। एंड व्हेन यू सी सुरेंद्र गिल ऑन द अदर साइड, जो आसानी से आ रहे हैं, पॉइंट्स लेके टपक जा रहा है पीछे, you really see sort of balance nahi tha wahan pe in terms of where they were trying to go. They would have easily lost that match against UP Yodha if it had not been for a couple of mistakes from UP and if the Raiders hadn't really stepped up. So Dabang Delhi mein problem defense to hai, and that the unfortunate part is after Naveen has come forward, defense doesn't match up. तो आपके पास जब लीड की एक ऐसा कंसिस्टेंट रेडर है, तो आपकी डिफेंसेस भी उतने ही sort of संभालना चाहिए at the other end, which is what they were not able to do. And going forward, hopefully अगर वो कर पाते हैं कि नहीं, we'll see. If unfortunately not many other teams are this rating heavy, or rather this consistently rating heavy. यहाँ पे सारे 3 को अच्छे मार्क्स मिल चुके हैं. Manjeet is doing well, Naveen is doing very well. So going forward, depending upon which team can rally their resources, like Telugu Titans has the Raiders to give this Dabang Delhi team and like a hard time, because उनके पास multi-prong raiding की एक outfit है, which is what Patna Pirates was last season. So if they can't manage to solidify their defense, Delhi is going to have a very hard time going forward. जब नवीन पे बोझ थोड़ा हल्का करने की टाइम आएगा, then अगर डिफेंस स्टेप अप नहीं किया तो
जी,
टाइटल डिफेंस तो छोड़ो भाई. या
अब तक जो डिफेंस की गलतियां थी उसको छुपाने में कामयाब रहे हैं दिल्ली के
ये
रेडर्स।
तो हर साल की यही स्टोरी है यहाँ दिल्ली का.
मैं
एंड दिस इज
पर्सनली तो काफी इम्प्रेस था अब तक दिल्ली के परफॉर्मेंस से।
Yeah, but if you look at it, I mean, when you have one department doing so well, if it's going to be
या
based on that one department, then the other department can't sit back and say, हाँ नवीन तू ही कर ले सब, हम लोग
नो,
तेरे
वन
लिए
थिंग
ताली
इज देयर,
मारेंगे बेंच में बैठ के.
वन थिंग इज देयर कि वो पॉइंट्स लीक कर रहे हैं, ऐसा नहीं है कि फ्लॉलेस रहा है उनका गेम, पॉइंट्स लीक हो रहे हैं। ये बात अलग है कि उतने मार्जिन में उन्होंने पॉइंट्स उठा भी लिए हैं तो वो कॉम्पेंसेट हो जा रहा है, लेकिन या दिल्ली के लिए, हाँ मैं मिस कर गया ये पॉइंट कि दिल्ली के लिए ये एक चैलेंजिंग हो सकता है आगे चल के, अगर एक टाइम ऐसा भी आएगा जब उनके रेडर्स शायद उतने फॉर्म में ना हो या कोई इंजर्ड हो या ऐसा कुछ भी हो
Exactly.
सकता है, लेकिन या तो दिल्ली को इस बात का ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा।
Exactly. Actually, given that last season में नवीन को एक बहुत बड़ी इंजरी हुई थी, where he was just crying on the sidelines, उसका नी पकड़ के, तुम लोग देख चुके हो कि ये हो सकता है आपके साथ. तो when you have a precedent, बहुत सारी टीम्स ये प्लान करते हैं कि अगर इसको इंजरी हुई तो हम लोग ये करेंगे. आपको तो लाइव एग्जांपल मिल ही गया है लास्ट सीजन, तो यहाँ से you need to know कि contingency plan हो जाना चाहिए, and a big part of your contingency plan needs to be your defense. लीक तो कर ही नहीं सकते भाई आप. बोनस तो छोड़ो, कम से कम एंकल होल्स ये सब जब करते हो, यू हैव टू गो ऑल इन और डोंट डू इट एट ऑल. So that's kind of what you need to look at. It will be interesting because over the next couple of days we're going to catch up with a couple of people from Dabang Delhi, hopefully. अगर हमें वक्त मिलता है, given that we're doing this remotely for now, अगर वक्त मिलता है, then we'll try and catch up with some of the players or even the coach, for instance, to just see how their season is going, and we'd probably be able to give you guys some updates from there. Final thoughts, Mayank, on Dabang Delhi?
नहीं, मुझे मुझे एक सवाल पूछना था आपसे कि आप किस तरीके से देख रहे हो इस दबंग दिल्ली को, क्या वो टाइटल डिफेंड कर पाएंगे या नहीं?
बहुत अर्ली है यार. इनफैक्ट मैंने
लेकिन
जब
फिर भी
5 मिनट पहले मैंने बोला कि हम प्रिडिक्शंस की बात करेंगे, और फिर मनी मन में मैंने सोचा कि एक ही हफ्ता हुआ है, क्या प्रिडिक्शन कर पाएंगे हम लोग. हफ्ते हफ्ते
बिल्कुल
में ये गेम बदलती
गेम
रहती
चेंज,
है.
सेकंड्स का
हाँ,
गेम है ये, तो हर सेकंड
एग्जैक्टली
बदलता है। फिर भी
एग्जैक्टली. और
स्ट्रॉन्ग
मैं
टीम, स्ट्रॉन्ग है
हाँ,
टीम, सॉलिड लग रही है, लेकिन हाँ थोड़े बहुत अगर उन्हें ट्विक्स कर लिए तो आई थिंक दे विल बी सॉर्टेड।
जी हाँ, जी हाँ. Strong contender for sure. I mean, you have a lot of teams that come in as defending champions. Like, for instance, when Bengal Warriors were defending champions last year, they
या
had a great run, but they had a great run because of very strategic performances that came over in the last leg of the league. So
या
that's not how Dabang Delhi won their title. Dabang Delhi won their title with utter dominance. And this is despite having Naveen going off with an injury. So if they can manage the same sort of dominance this time, जो definitely दिख रहा है, their first week has been brilliant, but they were found out in multiple areas. उनकी डिफेंस को क्वेश्चंस पूछी गई, रेडिंग को भी क्वेश्चंस पूछा गया, नवीन को बाहर बिठाया तो टीम की मोमेंटम गिरती है for sure. The only difference being कि you have Manjeet and all who are willing to take on the workload, जो very
ऑल्सो
confidently
अंशु,
workload. हाँ,
अंशु
Ashu
मलिक
bhi,
ने
yes, absolutely. But I'm only bringing Manjeet because he revived
या
Naveen constantly. Like
या
Ashu is
कॉन्स्टेंटली
there,
या
but yeah, it went on to him to pick up those multi-point raids, which is
या
ultimately what you might require, which is what Naveen does very very well. He's very nimble on the
या
mat. तो
या
उस तरह की अगर आपको एक डोमिनेंस चाहिए या एक स्मार्ट रेडर चाहिए जो जाके मल्टीपल पॉइंट्स पिक करके वापस आ सकता है, देन दैट विल हेल्प
सो
गोइंग फॉरवर्ड प्रॉब्ली.
सो क्वेश्चन ये होगा कि लाइक सारे लोग कंपेयर करते हैं नवीन को प्रदीप नरवाल से, कैसे उन्होंने अपनी टीम को हैट्रिक दिलाई टाइटल की, तो आई विल सी कि कैसा जाता है नवीन का ये सीजन और दबंग दिल्ली के लिए कैसा जाता
अब
है ये
तुम ही
सीजन।
जिंक्स कर रहे हो. अब देख लो, अगर यहाँ से कुछ, गॉड फॉरबिड, अगर कुछ हो जाता है तो हम तुम्हें ही आके मारेंगे वापस कि तुमने ये बोल दिया कि ये प्रदीप ने 3 जितवाए, अभी देख लेंगे कि नवीन क्या करता है. इट विल टेक सम टाइम. सो ओके, फॉर दोज हु आर लॉगिंग इन, हम लोग कोई जिंक्स नहीं कर रहे हैं बाबा. वी विल सी हाउ इट गोज. सबको तो यही प्रार्थना है कि सब इंजरी फ्री अपना सीजन चलाएं बस. दैट इज ऑल वी कैन आस्क फॉर, irrespective of who wins and who doesn't win. And we'll know that when we talk about Pawan's injury later on when we discuss Tamil Talaivas. Okay, so agla wala, shall we do Bengal Warriors?
या
Okay, all right. So Bengal Warriors की जो team है, this is one team when I was blogging, I was just angry with this team for multiple reasons. Because one, you've let go of Nabi Baksh, which I can understand. Nabi Baksh was not consistent. Consistent नहीं थे last season. वो 8 point का जो rate था, that was luck. Okay, in a
Yeah,
lot of ways, that was luck and something that a lot of people didn't like also, given that the
yeah,
point went to Bengal Warriors that way. But to be very honest, Nabi Baksh was a very smart raider, जो raiding and defense दोनों कर सकता था. So if you're bringing Deepak Nivas Huda in that sort of a role, and Deepak Nivas Huda is a very prolific all-rounder. He knows what he's doing. उसका experience बहुत unparalleled है इस league में. But I'm so disappointed to see, not just in this season, okay? And this is not a commentary on Deepak himself, but कुछ हो रहा है उनके form के साथ. This is like Virat Kohli syndrome all over again. There's something happening there. He's
yeah,
constantly
and quite
there.
for long.
Yeah, and for a very long time, exactly. Jaipur ke last दो seasons में he's
Yeah,
taken time to get into the sort of scheme of things to contribute, and there they needed him to score points. वहां पे
mm,
dependence था कि दीपक आके points score करे, and उसी से you've had Arjun Deshwal and those people, which we'll talk about later. But
yeah,
यहाँ पे Bengal Warriors की टीम में मुझे बार बार यही frustration होती रहती है कि constantly ये मनिंदर पे ही क्यों dependency आ जाती है इनको. It becomes frustrating after a while, क्योंकि 3 सीजन में आपकी जब वही स्ट्रैटेजी बन जाती है, like in this last game that Bengal Warriors played, when Maninder was not going in the second game that they played, rather, against Telugu Titans, if I'm not wrong,
yeah.
जब
Telugu
उन्होंने
Titans,
खेला
which they
था,
won 45-24.
yeah, which they won very comprehensively.
Yeah.
What stood out was Maninder was on song. He had a great game. तो उनका जब गेम अच्छा होता है, then everybody feeds off his energy, and then वहां से सारे अच्छे खेलने लगते हैं. But the problem becomes when Maninder doesn't perform, then what? ये ऐसा नहीं है ना कि एक प्लेयर ऑफ हो गया तो ओके, चलो पैकअप करके चले जाते हैं. इट कांट बी दैट वे.
No,
And
but I
the game
guess,
that Maninder played well,
yeah,
Deepak also played well.
yeah.
He also had a good game, but he
I
had a
was
good
coming to
game
the
more in the
point.
second half.
I was coming to the point where we'll talk about Shrikant Jadhav because
जी.
वो उनका जो कमबैक है, आई गेस उससे बंगाल वॉरियर्स को एक बूस्ट मिला है. पहला मैच हारने के बाद उन्होंने 2 बढ़िया गेम खेले और कमबैक किया है. तो या कुछ कुछ पॉजिटिव्स भी हैं इन ढेर सारे नेगेटिव्स के बीच में.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. This team is not without positives. Otherwise, positives नहीं होते तो 2 गेम जीतते नहीं. That is another
बिल्कुल
thing.
बिल्कुल.
But the issue again becomes when even Shrikant Jadhav, for that matter, in the last game, unki raiding mein, I don't know what, they missed out on the clock. They weren't able to calculate how long the raiding clock is going. Do or die raids mein galti kar rahe the. And do or die raids mein actually Deepak Nivas Huda is very experienced. So
या फॉर
if
श्योर.
these are your areas, like एक दो तीन areas हैं जहाँ पे आपको identify करके team में रखा गया है, अगर उन areas में आप perform नहीं कर पाते, then why aren't you using the 8 substitutes to pull somebody in? I mean, pull someone out and put someone else in. You can always bring Deepak back. मेरा यही problem है. The same problem applies to Rahul Chaudhary in Jaipur as well. तुम्हें पता है कि this person is low on form. Of course, their experience is invaluable. But after, and this is the talking point year after year. When do you decide, or how do you decide to strike a balance between experience and actual contribution on the mat? Ultimately ये सारे जो मैचेस हैं जो आप ऐसे ही जाने दे रहे हैं, if at all any of these wins that they have became a loss, it will count, it will come back to bite you in the end when you're calculating for playoffs. So it's easy to say हाँ अभी सीजन अभी शुरू हुआ है, देख लेते हैं, बाद में जाके सब ठीक हो जाएगा, आयन आउट हो जाएगा, which is fine, fair strategy. But these points will count as well. So the people actually getting wins right now will pip you later on. And in that sort of a, if when you look at it that way, even Girish Ernak is somebody that I think Bengal needs to give a proper look at. He's a very very good very good defender,
डिफेंडर.
very solid. Unke blocks, it's very difficult to get past somebody like that. He's like a mountain there. When he blocks you, there's just no moving. पर उसका भी क्या है, फर्स्ट हाफ में he starts and he gets like a flurry of points, and then second half में off हो जाते हैं. His concentration goes or something happens. A bundle of errors happen there. So this is something that Bengal Warriors needs to actually sit down and discuss कि क्या हो रहा है, momentum गिर क्यों रहा है after a point. And if they can figure that out, then there's no reason why this team can't figure out making their way to the playoffs first. टाइटल की बात बाद में करेंगे, but at least playoffs तक तो आराम से जाना चाहिए if their defense can step up. Because Maninder जब
What do you
out हो
think
जाता है,
about Shubham Shinde? Like
Shubham
the
Shinde also has been good, but then again, he also has become like a target of lead raiders when they come in. It's very easy to pick points off him. it's the same issue. The problem again becomes when you put in half-hearted tackles or advanced tackles, which is an issue for multiple defenders in the league. जब तुम लोगों को पता है, like for example, if they have to go up against someone like Surinder Gill, for example, सुरेंद्र गिल इज टॉल, और मंजीत फॉर दैट मैटर, ही इज वेरी टॉल. तो तुम अगर मैट के मिड में जाके उसको टैकल करोगे, he can just with the extent of where his hand goes go back to the midline and take you along with him. He doesn't have to do anything extra. So आपकी strategies भी ऐसा ही, you have to plan it up accordingly. You have to get these raiders deep, otherwise don't go for them at all. Save the point. So these are sort of issues that we've seen. I see you can hear like Mandir ki ganti behind me. Such. So Bengal Warriors, see Bhagwan bhi agrees with
No,
this. They need
I
to.
would, yeah, I would try to implicate this in a different way. Like, I guess they are blessing from the top keep. बेटा अच्छा कर
Bengal के लिए.
बंगाल के लिए, yeah.
I hope someone in Bengal is listening to this. Good. अगर blessings है तो अच्छी है. But there are like their defense. It's got a lot defense, and actually both directions they have a lot of work to do. Both sides 70% ही अच्छे लग रहे हैं, which is not great. It's not great when you're going up against teams like Dabang Delhi and all, which are operating on a higher level. So if Bengal can iron out their creases both ways, if Maninder can figure out when Maninder is slow in the beginning, someone else needs to take up the responsibility of getting those quick points. Bonus है तब भी चलेगा, but get those points. And उसको revive करने की mechanism needs to be a little better. So then maybe, okay, if you have to depend on him, then maybe this is a better way to go forward. क्या लगता है? Do you think they'll make the playoffs?
I think for now, yeah, I guess they are in my team of playoff right now.
Yeah,
क्योंकि
Mayank, I know
मुझे
how much you like Deepak Nivas Huda. Yeah, so for your sake, I hope that's true. See, आप लोग जब ये स्ट्रीम देखोगे तब हम बोलेंगे, ये हर टीम के लिए बोलेंगे कि yeah, I hope they make the playoffs. But logically, between the two that we've discussed so far, Dabang Delhi is a clear playoff choice if they
for
go
sure.
the same way. Bengal has quite a bit of work to do because a lot of teams are on the same level, and if they don't rise above, ये जो एक लेवल है उसके above नहीं जाएंगे, तो ये शायद उनके लिए मुश्किल हो जाएगा to make it to the playoffs आगे जाके हुए.
कि
Okay?
हमने देखा है जो दिक्कत लगभग दिल्ली में है हल्की हल्की, उसी का एक्सटेंडेड वर्जन भी बंगाल में मुझे अब तक दिखाई दिया है, क्योंकि वो भी काफी ज्यादा पॉइंट्स लूज कर रहे हैं हाई स्कोरिंग मैचेस में. मतलब 2 मैच लकी रहे, एक मैच लकी रहेंगे कहूंगा, मैं बोलूंगा क्लोज आउट में उन्होंने जीता. एक बहुत बढ़िया मैच उन्होंने जीता टाइटल्स के खिलाफ, जो कि थोड़ी उबड़ खाबड़ से अभी टीम नजर आ रही है. फिर भी हाँ, काम तो अभी काफी है इस टीम में, लेकिन अगर वो कुछ ट्यूक्स करेंगे तो मुझे लगता है कि दे विल बी फाइन.
Right. And I quite like how they've used Manoj Gauda. Sorry, can you hear me now? Mute ho gayi by
Yeah,
mistake.
yeah.
Yeah, I quite like how they've used Manoj Gauda and people like Balaji, and you've not needed to use Amit Shoran so much. So that really talks about the fact that you've packed your team decently. But अगर ये लोग एकजुट आके अच्छे से perform ना कर पाए, then it's pointless. And you need
Correct.
to make your strategic changes. Like Akash Pikal Munde got a couple of minutes the other day, but then उसको time ही नहीं हुआ कि actually कोई impact करके चला जाए. So if you look at this week, Bengal has a loss to its name, which was quite a bad loss, and then they've managed to recover from there. But it's a week by week game, and they have to really figure out how to get more consistent in terms of how they come together as a team. अगर team effort नहीं हुआ, ये दीपक निवास हुडा बोल रहे थे, वो second win के बाद उन्होंने बताया कि this is a team environment that he's never experienced before. I don't know what exactly he meant by that, but he said नहीं, टीम बहुत united होके खेलती है. मुझे पर्सनली एक जो चीज थी that I was worried about was you have two leaders in Maninder and Deepak. तो इन दोनों का एक when they come
Clash.
together उनकी हाँ
Yeah.
exactly clash हो जाए, या you never know. I mean हम ये नहीं
Yeah.
बोल रहे हैं कि प्रॉब्लम है टीम में, प्लीज इसका ये मतलब मत निकालिए. हमने
But
पूछा भी दीपक को.
दो बिग पिलर्स हैं अपने अपने
जी हाँ.
गेम के,
जी
इंडियन
हाँ.
गेम के आई कैन से. सो लाइक दोनों का साथ में आना इज लाइक ईदर वे पोलराइजिंग हो सकता है.
Exactly.
I hope ना
It can
हो,
go either
लेकिन
way. Correct.
yeah,
Exactly.
correct.
अगर गलत हुआ तो बहुत गलत हो सकता है. Which is what we asked him about it. We asked Deepak about this, and Deepak is like, इस टीम में बहुत सारे इंडियन टीम के players हैं. From Girish to Maninder to a lot of other guys. There are so many people who have been part of the Indian setup, which Deepak obviously has been a part of for a very long time. Former captain भी है वो. तो he knows all these guys, and उनके हिसाब से एक बहुत अच्छी understanding बन गई है. टीम एक family की तरह खेल रही है. All that is fine. But वो family feeling मैट पे भी दिखना चाहिए. So they need to go all in with their, when you have defenders who can support somebody else, support them. Be a little smart about your tackles. and Giri Shernath needs to figure out what this second half fade is. Kya hai? What is happening there? That needs to be figured out because he's picking out high fives. He got the first high five of this season. And that's really saying something. On brute force play, he contributed to 80% of Bengal's points in that half, in that second game.
Yeah.
So if you have to go forward, you need people like this to step up. Leadership dikhao defense mein. That's the only way you can go forward and actually make a solid contribution towards something like a title bid. Otherwise, आप लोग playoff तक ही जाके खुश होना पड़ेगा. That's like the maximum. So let's hope अगर बंगाल का कोई ये सुन रहा है तो please वेल ऑयल कीजिए अपनी मशीनरी. बहुत अच्छे तगड़े प्लेयर्स हैं आपके रैंक्स में, पर उन सबको कंसिस्टेंटली 40 मिनट्स के लिए फायर करना पड़ेगा इफ दे आर देयर फॉर दैट लॉन्ग. And that's kind of what their sort of ambitions this season will depend on. Okay. अब अगला जो टीम है that's Bengaluru Bulls. It feels so weird to talk about a Bengaluru Bulls outfit without Pawan. I'm still not used to it. मैं जब ब्लॉग करती हूँ तब भी मेरा पहला पवन सहरावत ही लिखने का मन करता है, but he's not there. Instead, they have Vikash Kandola, who's done a fair job. I mean, he's obviously not at that level, but it's again that's very unfair to say also because they're very different kind of raiders.
Yeah.
But Vikash Kandola and more specifically Bharat. Bharat is somebody that Bengaluru Bulls has retained and shown a lot of faith in, which is great. एक young player को faith दे के retain करके आए. That's a great thing that Ranveer Sehrawat has done. And Bharat has been great with his bonuses. वो बहुत ही एक smart raider है. आके bonus मार के चले जाते हैं. He keeps the scoreboard ticking, which is absolutely amazing. Bengaluru Bulls का unfortunately 3 out of 3 हो नहीं पाया because they fell to a really embarrassing loss in their last game. But overall, the team looks quite good. If you ask me, it's not a bad side at all. What
Not
are
at
your
all.
thoughts, Mayank, about their opening week
No,
performances?
I do feel कि बेंगलुरु बुल्स एक कंसोलिडेटेड एक बढ़िया सॉलिड टीम है. प्लस एडेड एडवांटेज ये है कि अभी के लिए वो अपने घर पे खेल रहे हैं. लाइक लास्ट सीजन ऑब्वियसली ऑडियंस थे नहीं, लेकिन एक मोरल बूस्टिंग ऑडियंस हो आपके साथ, स्पेक्टेटर्स हो आपके साथ, तो आप ऑब्वियसली एक लेवल ऊपर ही खेलोगे. और लास्ट मैच में भी अगर देखा जाए तो हाफ टाइम तक दे वर लीडिंग. So and then Bengal Warriors like made a flip out of like as we all know. लेकिन एक अच्छी टीम लग रही है. मतलब मैंने उतना फॉलो नहीं किया टू बी ऑनेस्ट बेंगलुरु बुल्स को. जितना मैंने देखा है मुझे ठीक अच्छी टीम लग रही है.
Okay, so the issue with Bengaluru Bulls, and this seems to follow Vikash Kandola. Vikash Kandola जहाँ जाते हैं ये प्रॉब्लम उनके साथ ही आ जाती है कि जब एक साइजेबल लीड बन जाती है तो ये टीम उसको पकड़ के रखने की हिम्मत नहीं रखती. Haryana Steelers had the same problem last year when they used to get 8 point, 9 point leads, and when they were comfortably cruising in a match, something will happen and they'll end up giving that away in the next 5 minutes, which is frustrating. तुम लोग इतना काम करके एक लीड अमास कर रहे हो, उसको होल्ड करने की ताकत नहीं रखते, then point क्या है? So that seems to be the same issue here as well. But the only difference is Vikash has Bharat to help him. So ऐसा नहीं है कि अगर आप गिर जाते हो या if you go off and you're put on the bench, then there's no one to revive you. That revival stuff is happening quickly. But they're really missing out on something if they're going to give away points like this. So the same issue comes here. They sort of tend to fade in the last 3-4 minutes of a half. And this happened with Puneri Paltan as well. They gave up a sizable lead. I don't know how that happened. Puneri Paltan was well back in the game. And the defense was playing really, really well for Bengaluru Bulls. But wahan se they allowed Pune to come back, which does not make sense to me at all. On that day, with that momentum, Pune is a young team. तुम लोग उस पे अच्छे से दबाव बना के you could have just kept them out of the game completely. But that didn't happen. From 14-28, which was what, a 7 point deficit, you end up going to 35-35. And then even it came down to the last raid also, where it could have gone either way in the last
Either way,
one and a half minutes.
Yeah.
So that's not for a team like Bengaluru Bulls. And you can see Ranveer Sehrawat like furiously sweating his bro on the side. वो लोग, he gets really quiet in the last
Well, he was
3-4 minutes.
asking he was asking for a review and then
हाँ,
he later
but his reviews
apologized.
have been questionable. हाँ, Bengaluru Bulls के reviews this
Yeah.
season have been quite questionable. कल का भी एक बहुत ही बेकार रिव्यू था जो एक बोनस प्लस क्यों किया आई डोंट नो. एंड लाइक रणधीर सहरावत से आप जवाब पूछोगे तो वो यही बोलेंगे, ही सेड दिस आफ्टर द मैच कि मुझे रिव्यू अपने पॉकेट में लेके घर नहीं जाने का है, तो मैं यूज करने में प्रॉब्लम क्या है. मैं while that makes a lot of sense, कम से कम देख के रिव्यू कीजिए, बिकॉज पॉइंट नहीं है ऐसे. then this review was ahead in the game, like it was early on, some mid stage
Yeah.
में कुछ था, And then now if you don't have that review, you don't get to appeal things later on jab actually aapke side mein favor aa jata hai. So reviews was something that teams like Puneri Paltan used to struggle with last year, but this time I'm very surprised to see Bengaluru Bulls sort of dealing with reviews like this. So maybe that's something that they can figure out. But besides that, I think they have a good raiding unit in Vikash
Yeah.
and Bharat. बहुत अच्छी
And
है. Neeraj
also
Narwal,
Neeraj Narwal.
exactly. Let's not forget Neeraj Narwal has done a very good job in being that third raider. That he's a fair third raider. He might need to improve a little bit, but very
Yeah,
fair.
but he's playing the third fiddle game perfectly well.
Exactly. Very, very well. And that's nice to see because last season, when we used to talk about three pronged attacks, it was only Patna Pirates. Patna Pirates had three very potent raiders. They had Sachin, uske paas Monu bhi the. Then you had Prashant Kumar Rai and you had Guman Singh later on, who played really, really well. So that at that time, that was like, oh my God, Patna's got three raiders who are like playing so well. That seemed to set them apart. But now that seems to have become a template. Sare teams may they have developed these three raiders more or less, at least, who can come in, at least the two strong ones plus one really good subsidiary raider who can really come into things and make things happen. So that's great. What I do not like or what I'm disappointed about with Bengaluru Bulls is Mayur Kadam. He's had a horrible start to his season. I don't understand how he still has a place on the mat. And no offense to him, Sare, there, these are all very sort of seasoned PKL players. They've been around, they've seen a lot, they've been good, which is why they're being selected each year after year. पर अगर
Yeah,
इनकी फॉर्म अच्छी नहीं है तो इनको स्टार्टिंग सेवन में तो मत डालो. Bring somebody else and then sub him in when you need someone with experience to come in for maybe a super tackle situation or something like that. He's been leaking points left, right, and center. So when you're going in with okay, मुझे कुछ भी कोई भी point नहीं गवाना है, कोई भी point gift नहीं करना है, then this is a weak link in your defense, and that doesn't work. Same
yeah,
way, Saurabh Nandal has been good. Saurabh Nandal has been a very consistently good defender. So seeing him and Mahendra Singh, who is this time the captain after Pawan has left, is great. They know what's going wrong. पर जानने में और करेक्ट करने में बहुत बड़ी गैप होती है. And where or how long Bengaluru takes to fix that will sort of dictate their BP in every match, number one. Otherwise, तुम लोग ऐसे नाखून चबाते चबाते you will have to go through every game, which is unnecessary. Bengaluru has the squad to have outright wins. And the
yeah,
fact that they are allowing it to go so close is disservice to the talent in that team. सो इफ रणधीर सहरावत, और ये हमें पता है कि रणधीर सहरावत इनको जाके सुनाते ही होंगे होटल में कि क्या कर दिया तुम लोगों ने. ही इज अ वेरी एंटरटेनिंग मैन टू लिसन टू ऑन द माइक, बट आई एम श्योर इट्स नॉट फन टू हैव दैट बैंटर बैक इन द होटल when he's coming and pointing out things you've done wrong. So I hope for Bengaluru से कि वो अपनी जो रेडिंग यूनिट की एडवांटेज है वो डिफेंस में भी दिखा सके. एंड इवन देयर रेडर्स शुड बी अ लिटिल स्मार्ट. विकास कंडोला हैज मैनेज्ड सुपर रेड्स व्हिच इज ग्रेट. मल्टीपल पॉइंट्स ही इज एबल टू पिक अप. Bharat also is great. मैं भरत के बारे में कुछ नहीं बोलूंगी. But if the defense can just back them up a little better and if they can just be composed in the last couple of minutes in each half, then this is going to be a very different looking team
yeah,
and a team that people should legitimately be scared of going forward in the league. So whether they manage to do that or not is something we will have to see. Okay. Okay.
yeah.
अगला हरियाणा स्टीलर्स करें.
बिल्कुल.
Okay. शुरू हो जाओ. What have
चलो.
what have your observations been about this team this season?
Okay. There are two major talking points which I wanted to discuss about Haryana Steelers. One is obviously Surinder Gill. Okay, he has been. Okay, I'm sorry if I'm. Okay, one second. I've just made a few lists. Sorry. Okay, I just miscalculated it. That's Manjeet. I'm so sorry for that. I, am I audible or not?
Yes,
I can't
I
listen
was
to
on
you.
mute. Never mind. Go forward.
Sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Okay, it was a mistake. I meant to say Manjeet and Nitin Raval because those two players have impressed me a lot. The way Manjeet has played for him is phenomenal. Also, Nitin Raval has done his all-round duties like phenomenally well. Like when it comes to the defending duties, he is there. When it comes to the raiding duties, he's still there. And Steeler looks quite solid. Like अगर मैं स्टीलर्स की बात करूं तो उन्होंने दो में से दो, अगर मैं गलत नहीं बोल रहा हूं तो दो में से दोनों मैच दो में से दो जीत के अभी थर्ड पोजीशन पे वो बैठे हुए हैं. तो दे आर लुकिंग वेरी सॉलिड टीम, बैलेंस टीम लग रही है। प्लस उनके पास जयदीप दहिया जो कि लेफ्ट कॉर्नर में, कवर में, माफ करिएगा, वो भी मुझे काफी इंप्रेस करते हुए नजर आ रहे हैं अब तक।
Yeah, absolutely. Manjeet has been very, very consistent. Whichever team he's gone to, he's played really well. Be
Yeah.
it Pune, be it Tamil Talaivas, he's been a raiding superpower, in to say the
ऑल्सो
least.
नॉट इट सेल्फ इन रेडिंग, बट वो जब अगर मैं बात करूं तमिल थलाइवर्स के खिलाफ मैचअप जहां लो स्कोरिंग मैच था 27-22 से, दे वन द मैच बाय 5 पॉइंट्स, तब उन्होंने डिफेंडिंग ड्यूटीज में भी बहुत बढ़िया काम किया। पहले मैच में उन्होंने 19 पॉइंट लिए, जिसमें 1 पॉइंट टैकल का था। सेकंड में 7 में से उन्होंने 3 पॉइंट्स टैकल के लिए। सो वो एक ऑलराउंड, एक आउट एंड आउट रेडर के नाते से खेल रहे हैं, लेकिन डिफेंडिंग ड्यूटीज में भी इक्वली पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं।
सही बात है, absolutely. And the fact that Haryana has managed to have comfortable wins works really well for them. Or this is a big departure from how they've gone about their seasons previously. उनके ये
Yeah.
बेंगलुरु बुल्स का जो सिंड्रोम है वो उन्हीं का होता रहता था. So the fact that they're not struggling as much is great to see. What we should also really keep in mind is I wanted, or rather I expected a better role for Meetu, because Meetu last season was very, very exciting. He was, after a point, he became the solid support to Vikash Kandola in raiding. Even though
Yeah,
he
yeah,
doubles up as a very good all rounder, but Vikash Kandola ko wahi support kar raha tha. So to see Meetu being introduced a little slowly this season is a little surprising to me. But I'm sure Manpreet knows what he's doing. He's very
but
excited with how
I
his,
guess this is, yeah, this is based on match situations, क्योंकि
yeah.
जहां तक हम तमिल थलाइवर्स की बात करें, उनके कोच ने साफ साफ ये बोल दिया था कि पवन सहरावत के जाने के बाद हम will play the our defense game. So in that
Hmm.
defense game they were only doing that, only playing with do or die raids. So
Hmm.
मीतू उस समय वो काम करते जा रहे थे, फटाक से बोनस, सॉरी, बॉकलाइन टच करे थे, वापस आ रहे थे। इसीलिए मैं कह सकता हूँ कि थोड़ी जल्दी होगी अभी बोलना इनके बारे में, लेकिन
Exactly,
हाँ,
exactly. Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I think उसका role थोड़ा बढ़ेगा because ये बहुत ही
हाँ, बिल्कुल,
he's too good a player to come in only for such a short time.
फॉर सच, या,
So
करेक्ट,
yeah, so I was quite surprised to see कि उसका उतना भी like not role नहीं है. That's not what I'm trying to say, but just that his mat presence was a little less this time. So that was quite surprising. The other
या,
person that I'm actually really, really happy to see is Nitin Raval. He's been amazing this first week.
फिनोमिनल,
Phenomenal, absolutely. He tends to be a little emotional on mat in the sense that वो rashly थोड़े decisions ले लेता है, but he's rallied that defense so well, and he's a very good all rounder in the sense
या,
that raiding उसकी defensive capabilities are a little better than his raiding capabilities, but the fact that he's going and whispering in the raiders ear कि तुम ऐसे करो वैसे करो या यहाँ पे देखो वहाँ पे देखो, that shows on spot leadership, which is great. This Haryana team needs that.
या,
And the fact that they've managed to do very, very well in their first week should mean good things for them coming forward. But consistency, Manjeet
या,
पे अगर आप depend करोगे, Manjeet लेता ही रह रहा है 18 point 19 points, all that is great, but who other than him? It can't
या,
always be him. So someone else needs to match up with at least like 8 9 points, 9 10 points. You need to have that sort of solidity, but the fact that they're good in their defense means good things. What I'm interested to see in the coming weeks is Amir Hussain Bastami. I have no idea about this player. The first time I'm going to personally see him is going to be in the PKL. And I'm not sure if he has arrived yet or not, like because of the delay that the Iranians were facing. तो मुझे पता नहीं अगर वो आ चुके हैं कि नहीं. But if he can make it, that's going to mean some good stuff for this team. Joginder Narwal has been a little ordinary, but
या.
this was expected. This was expected. Last season itself, he had like a dip in form, so it was expected. It seems like a
If
more
I'm not wrong, he's the captain of Haryana Steelers.
जी
But I guess Nitin Raval,
वही तो he's stepping
उनके
up when
उनके
he's
या
off the mat.
उनके अंदर
Yeah.
वो लीडरशिप कैपेबिलिटी साफ साफ दिखाई देती नजर आ रही
Exactly.
है।
But नितिन रावल को अगर आप कैप्टनसी दे दोगे
करेक्ट,
तो it will
हाँ,
explode.
बट स्टिल लाइक
तो it will
इट
explode.
इज कंपैरेटिवली अ यंग टीम, तो एक ऐसे
Yeah.
लीडर की जरूरत है जो कि लाइक हु कैन पुश, जैसा आपने बोला कि उनको कान में जाके कुछ सजेशंस दे रहे हैं लास्ट मोमेंट पे, तो
Hmm.
ये सब चीज देखने में अच्छी लग रही है और इफेक्टिव भी नजर आ रही है अब तक।
Yeah. So they have people like Prapanjan and they have people like Rakesh Narwal who are established raiders. Prapanjan was good with Bengal Warriors,
या,
but he's dipped ever since. Uska, I don't know what's happened there either. So maybe
एक्सपीरियंस
taking
है
a look.
स्क्वाड में, बट
Ji.
फर्स्ट 11 इज बिट व्हाट टू से इनएक्सपीरियंस, आई वुड से
Yeah. So that's
यंगर।
what even the reinforcements they're bringing are people with a lot of experience but poor on form. So going
Yeah.
forward, that might not be the best strategy. So Manpreet is a very dynamic coach. So to just see how he deals with this will be very, very interesting in the weeks coming forward. So we'll have to take a look at how that goes. But on paper, this Haryana, leave paper. I mean, in the first week, this Haryana Steelers side looks brilliant. I
Also,
love watching them play.
you have talked about
Yeah,
Manjeet. Like I was blogging the match against Tamil Thalaivas. He was not at all impressed by the team because he was keep telling their players to go for a 7 points victory because he don't want to give any points to other team. तो वो ओपन हार्टेडनेस नजर आ रही थी मंजीत के सजेशंस में. ही इज लाइक मुझे हार जीत से फर्क नहीं पड़ता, यू गो ऑल इन. तो ये दो तीन छोटे छोटे पॉइंट्स है जो कि दैट मेक्स हरियाणा स्टीलर्स अ वेरी वेरी गुड टीम विद अ वेरी गुड कोच.
absolutely. And honestly, I would pay money to watch Manpreet in commentary. I hope this goes to him sometime. He's too entertaining. I'm actually very surprised that they've not like tried to rope him into broadcast. But good, good. उनको coaching में ही रहने दो. ये नहीं कह रही हूँ
Because
कि
he is
उनको coach
doing
नहीं
well
करना चाहिए.
there,
Exactly,
let him do
that's what
well.
I'm saying. ये ऐसा नहीं है कि वो coach अच्छे से नहीं कर रहे हैं, but he's ridiculously entertaining. So to just see what he pulls off with this team, if they can actually go the distance and make it to the playoffs and even push to the finals, semis or finals, that would be great for this team. So I really hope that happens for Haryana Steelers. It's been a few seasons in the making. So the fact that it's not happened yet is disappointing for them. So I hope that happens this time. Okay, तो वो हुआ Haryana Steelers. Next up is Gujarat Giants. Gujarat Giants is an interesting team because year after year we have the same thing to say about this team. कि Raiders कहाँ हैं? Where are the other Raiders? You need to have again, I'm not saying that they've not been performing well or they've not been figuring out their rating department well. The fact that Rakesh has stepped up to the extent that he has stepped up says a lot about his sort of attributes as a raider. But Chandran Ranjit has been a very poor second raider for him, and this is the case even in Bengaluru Bulls when he was with Pawan Sehrawat. Pawan Sehrawat में उसका role ही यही था कि वो पवन को revive करे. So this time, the fact that he's okay, he's been hot and cold, but I'm not convinced. But this team also has the likes of Prashant Kumar Rai. They brought in Rohit Kumar beach mein. This is
Uh-huh.
after the auction, who's again an
Yeah.
underperforming raider. So these are acquisitions that are not in form. But आप experience load कर करके points में there's no difference.
Yeah.
So I'm a little surprised with that sort of thing. And I understand Ki Ram Meher is making a fresh start with this team. He's been with Patna Pirates throughout the PKL so far, and this is the first team he's coaching after Patna Pirates. So this is like a start for him. He has to make sure he builds a base here, which I hope Adani Sportsline gives him an opportunity to build along with this team. But this team has so much to improve on, and it's unfortunate because इनकी बहुत ही young side है. The team has very very promising players. To be fair, I shouldn't be harsh about their raiding unit. Partik Dahiya, if I'm saying this right, he's also been quite great for them when he comes in to raid in strategic points. हाल ही की वो all-rounder ही है, but he's been quite good when he comes in on those crucial raid moments where he's been able to revive Rakesh. So, and he's been a very frustrating defender for the other teams because वो बहुत अच्छे से tackle भी कर सकता है. So it's interesting. They've got some really good players. They've got Arkam Sheikh, who's been okay. Sandeep Kandola, hot and cold, but Saurav Gulia has been good this season. So I'm quite happy to see what's happening there. Rinku Narwal has been a little quiet. उसको उतना खिलाया भी नहीं है. So I don't know what the strategy there exactly is. But to see Rakesh sort of just take this team and go with it has been good. Dongyong Lee has joined Gujarat Giants, and I expected him to have the kind of impact that he would have had when he was with Bengaluru Bulls, but wo hua nahi. He was not able to be that impact sub for them. So maybe that's also something that they should think about because Bengaluru used to employ Dong Gyong Lee as a trump card. Suddenly aata tha, suddenly kuch karta tha, jata tha, and that's it. His role is done. 3-4 minutes max, which is something maybe Ram Meher Singh could use in this team. But hum to knowing how legendary Ram Meher Singh is, hum unko coaching to sikhane nahi chale. But it'll be interesting to see if these different players are employed a little differently, maybe just a little innovation in how they pull in and pull out their players just to keep the opponent guessing. Otherwise Gujarat बहुत predictable हो जाती है game के बीच में. So I hope that's something that they managed to do. Any other thoughts, Mayank, since you've seen them play this week?
Okay, I have not observed a lot of things from Gujarat Giants, but yeah, अभी वो सबसे लास्ट पोजीशन पे चल रहे हैं पॉइंट्स टेबल में, बट दैट डजंट मीन लाइक दे डिजर्व टू बी देयर. एक ड्रॉ और एक बड़ी हार, लेकिन टीम के अंदर कुछ बढ़िया पॉइंट्स है जो आपने बताया, जैसे राकेश ने स्टेप अप किया है, अभी वो मोस्ट रेट पॉइंट्स में सेकंड पे चल रहे हैं, जस्ट बिलो नवीन कुमार.
Yeah.
सो देयर आर गुड पॉइंट्स फॉर गुजरात, और मैं धीरे धीरे और देखूंगा, उनको
Yeah.
ऊपर जाना देखना पसंद करूंगा मैं यहाँ से. और
Yeah. Honestly, the one thing that I think Ramer Singh ji bhi will be a little disappointed about is वो पवन का जो injury था वो इसी match में हुआ था when they took on Gujarat Giants.
या
The fact that
या
they couldn't close that match out
या
is something they should be very disappointed about. वो final भी अगर हार जाते हैं then I think this will be the match that they'll be disappointed about because था vulnerability था. आप लोगों को exploit करने के लिए एक perfect opportunity था when you see your lead raider, most expensive player crying in pain and being stretchered out. It
या
hits a team. But Gujarat allowed them to come back and they got back instantly. It's not like halftime mein they
और
sort of
गुजरात was a team who was under pressure against a
exactly.
powerless Tamil Thalaiwas.
Powerless, exactly, exactly. So that does go to say a lot about the inexperience in this team, but that's fine. Inexperience ke liye hi you have people like Rohit,
Yeah.
Prashant Kumar Rai was a
Also it's only been 2 games, so I
yeah.
guess we shouldn't be very harsh on them.
It's been 2 games. Agreed. It's been 2 games. I'm being harsh on Gujarat Giants because they're the sort of the team, the vibe that you get from this team is the same vibe you got last year. And this
Yeah,
is the team Manpreet would frustrate himself over. Again, they had very less. The Raiders were not prolific. They're not known Raiders, but they're good Raiders. But then again, when you go up against superstars, you tend to be overawed by the situation. आप वहाँ जाते हो nervous हो जाते हो अरे हम प्रदीप के against खेल रहे हैं हम इसके against खेल रहे हैं and that's something Ramer Singh is dealing with this team. He has told us, which you guys will be able to watch in a couple of days. He's told us about the fact that नाम नहीं होता है काम के ऊपर ही एक मैच जीता जाता है. तो पवन प्रदीप जो भी आए इफ ही डजंट स्कोर इट डजंट मैटर नाम के बल पे तो वो मैच नहीं जीत पाएंगे. सो इफ गुजरात कैन एक्चुअली इसको अगर अच्छे से सीख के अगर वो मैच पे दिखा सकते हैं देन दिस टीम कैन be good. They can actually go up and challenge and come up in the points table. They don't have to languish there in the bottom. So I think that's kind of what they'll need to focus on. So I'm going to reserve my judgment on Gujarat Giants. I think they have a lot of work to do. This
yeah,
is it's not about it being too soon, but they are looking a little raw, and it won't help to get into the second week also the same way. So they need to start registering some wins soon so that they can it doesn't become too much of pressure towards the end of the season for them. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Okay, shall we close out Gujarat Giants?
yeah.
Okay. Next up, Jaipur Pink Panthers. Ah, my God, I had so many things to say about this team, but right now I just want to sigh. मुझे बस सांस लेना चाहिए when talking about Jaipur. I don't know what's happening here. I don't understand the logic behind giving Rahul Chaudhary so much mat time. It is beyond me. I don't know what the team. It's great to see him getting that backing. Don't mistake me. Rahul is a great raider in his prime. And I think that prime has left him a while ago. And to see somebody like Bhavani Rajput sitting out because Rahul is on the mat is beyond me. I don't know what the logic is to that strategy at all. But I'm really happy to see what Arjun Deshwal has managed to do. This team is raider heavy. Yeah, I don't get it. They have Ajit Kumar is there, Arjun Deshwal is there, Rahul Chaudhary is there, Bhavani Rajput is there. They've got a couple of other tertiary raiders as well who they've not tried out so much, but they're very raiding heavy.
Yeah.
डिस्पाइट दैट अगर आप अंडर परफॉर्मिंग एसेट्स को जाके मैट पे डालोगे देन
I guess the
what
team
is the
is
point?
I guess the team is fine. I guess decision making is a thing which they're lacking it at. I guess
Yeah.
क्योंकि जो प्लेइंग 7 क्या खिलानी है, अगर आपको भवानी जैसे प्लेयर बाहर बैठे हैं, राहुल चौधरी obviously one of the greats for like in the PKL, but not now. उनका प्राइम बीत चुका है और अब वो परफॉर्म नहीं कर रहे हैं. उनको ऑलमोस्ट वो पूरा का पूरा गेम खेल रहे हैं, ज्यादातर टाइम वो बाहर बैठे हुए हैं आउट होके. तो दैट डजंट मेक सेंस फॉर जयपुर.
Yeah, he should at least manage to come in and get bonus points, which I don't know why he's not able to do. उनकी fitness की बात है, he looks fit, so I don't think it's a fitness thing. And a lot was actually made of the fact that he guided UP to the national games win. But you have to understand that was a very low scoring game. And I'm surprised Maharashtra lost that also. I don't know how they lost that game. Look at the kind of raiders they have in their team. All those people are playing in the PKL right now. Aslam, all these other guys, they're all there.
yeah,
But what we need to understand is Rahul Chaudhary is a great name to have in your starting seven if he performs. So again, naam ke aage badho thoda. You need somebody to support Arjun Deshwal. Arjun Deshwal is also struggling. In his first game, he had a slow start, and then he took a lot of time to recover. And that's the game I think UP beat them in, right? पहला वाला जो था हाँ 34-32. Why was that close? Close ही नहीं होना था. Surinder Gill ठीक है. Pardeep struggled in that match, but Pardeep was allowed to come back with a 7 point total in the second half, which does not make sense. Why? Why did you let him come back? So they need to figure that out. They have let go of Sandeep Dhul in defense. Sandeep Dhul was poor there also, in the sense that he had a more poor season than good. So there's no point in retaining him from there. But Abhishek KS has been a great addition for them. वो जो left cover में है, he's been a great addition for them. He's very fearlessly. His first raid in PKL history was Pardeep. So that's really saying something कि you are not worried about, oh God ये बड़ा है, मैं इसको कैसे tackle करूंगा. There's nothing of that sort. The professionalism was great there, but this time they have sort of swapped Sandeep Dul for Saul Kumar, who's doing the same thing. He's the easiest defender to pick points off, and that's, you shouldn't have somebody like that on the mat. If you know कि यही से हम point मार के जा सकते हैं, then why is that person there? या फिर उनको ही नीड्स टू नो हाउ टू नॉट गिव इन टू दोज एडवांस टैकल्स, और वो इम्पल्सिवनेस नहीं होना चाहिए उनको, विच इज समथिंग जयपुर इज स्ट्रगलिंग विद दिस टाइम. सो अर्जुन देशवाल सीम्स टू बी a great talking point for Jaipur because he's performing, but he needs support. अकेले कुछ नहीं कर पाएगा. Either Ajit or Rahul have to step up because Bhavani is clearly being used as a second half substitute. Substitute के role पे ही उसको बुला रहे हैं, which is fine. Not a bad strategy, but you need Ajit to perform, or swap them. Make Bhavani Rajput come in and get Ajit in that substitute role at least for a game or two and see if that works out. Maybe
yeah,
maybe the fact that he doesn't have to shoulder things from the beginning might help him perform better because Ajit is a very smart raider. He was good with Tamil Talaivas. So and Mumba, sorry, Tamil Talaivas की तो 2 season पुरानी बात है. With Mumba, he was quite good. He was a good secondary raider to Abhishek Singh there. So if they can manage that, that'll be great. Okay, that is
yeah.
Jaipur. Do you want to take us through who's on your list? तमिल तलाइवाज ही बात करते हैं. पवन के बारे में बहुत वक्त हो गया बात किए बिना. तो you can take us through तमिल
Tam-
तलाइवाज.
yeah, yeah. So like जैसे हम सब जानते हैं कि 2.26 करोड़ में उन्होंने पवन सहरावत को खरीदा था. 50% से ऊपर उन्होंने पर्स लगा दिया था अपना. सब कुछ उन्होंने दांव पे लगा दिया. एंड देन इट वाज अ वेरी अनफॉर्चुनेट इवेंट. लेकिन उसके आगे भी जय उदय कुमार ने काफी बातें की. उन्होंने ये भी कहा है कि हम ओवर डिपेंडेंट नहीं है पवन सहरावत पर. और जिस तरीके से उनकी जो टीम है, ये एक्चुअली एक बढ़िया टीम थी जब तक पवन थे, क्योंकि डिफेंसिव ड्यूटीज में निभाने वाले जो प्लेयर्स है, डिफेंडर्स जो है बहुत अच्छे लगे मुझे अब तक. और प्लस अगर जब पवन रहते हैं तो एक अलग ही टीम नजर आती है. फिर भी पवन के जाने के बावजूद मैं उतना डिसअपॉइंटेड पर्सनली इस टीम से नहीं हूं. जिस तरीके का उन्होंने गेम दिखाया है, जब जब स्टेप अप करने की बारी आई, उन्होंने दोनों मैच में, पहला मैच जब पवन बाहर चले गए थे, उन्होंने गुजरात पे कांस्टेंट प्रेशर बना के रखा और मैच टाई कराया. मतलब वो पीछे से उन्होंने एक बहुत ही, मतलब ये टाई उनके लिए एक विन से बहुत बड़ी टाई कहूंगा मैं. और सेकंड मैच में जब हरियाणा के खिलाफ भी, आई वाज रियली इम्प्रेस्ड बाय द डिफेंडर्स. लाइक, और चलिए डिफेंडर्स तो अच्छे हैं, लेकिन 2-3 छोटी छोटी पॉइंट्स है जो कि मैं लिख के लेके आया हूँ, वो मुझे बहुत अच्छी लगी है. एक तो है उनके प्लेयर है विश्वनाथन ने आके 3 या 2 बार में उन्होंने जब सबसे ज्यादा क्रूशियल पोजीशंस आई थी, उन्होंने पॉइंट्स निकाले थे तमिल थलाइवास के लिए. तो जो छोटी छोटी बातें हैं मुझे तमिल थलाइवास के लिए अच्छी लगी है. और टीम इज नॉट अ बैड टीम एट ऑल. तो एक कंसोलिडेटेड टीम लग रही है. पवन आ जाने के बाद ये टीम और बढ़िया ही खेलेगी, ऑब्वियसली बात है. तो आई गेस अभी के लिए वी शुडंट बी वेरी कंसर्न्ड अबाउट दिस टीम.
Right, fair enough. I'm actually interested to see how the Raiders step up because defense से होता नहीं है. One thing that I'm a little disappointed about with Tamil Talaivas this season has been कि we watch professional sports across different disciplines, right? We watch IPL, we watch ISL, जो भी है, Premier League, जो भी है, जब एक प्लेयर को इंजरी होती है, यू गेट इन्फॉर्मेशन इंस्टेंटली कि प्लेयर कैसा कर रहा है.
हाँ,
यहाँ पे अभी तक वी हैव नॉट हैड an official sort of a word on what that injury is. Okay, except that
correct.
people are talking about अरे नहीं पवन सिर्फ हमारे लिए नहीं, इंडिया के लिए भी
के लिए
he's a great asset and he's this and that, which obvious, that's these are obvious things. But what is the injury? What's the nature of the injury? How long is he going to be out? These are things I think as stakeholders, fans deserve to know. So
yeah,
the
very
fact that
correct.
yeah, now he's, I think it's safe to assume he's
See,
not
there
coming
is
back.
a
Huh.
there is a scope of speculations right now. तो
Yeah, exactly.
एज अ टीम तमिल थलाइवास को ये सोचना चाहिए था कि इतने इन्वेस्टेड फैंस हैं और इतने
हाँ,
इन्वेस्टेड लोग हैं जो कि जानना चाहते हैं कि हुआ क्या है, क्या रीजन है, क्या स्पेकुलेट कर रहे हैं लोग. तो एक
exactly.
एक चुप्पी सी साध ली है. उस इंजरी के अलावा बाकी सारी बातें हो रही हैं कि वी आर नॉट ओवर डिपेंडेंट, पूरे पूरी देश उन पे डिपेंड है, व्हाटएवर
Yeah.
दैट इज. लेकिन क्या इंजरी है किसी को नहीं मालूम.
Exactly, exactly. So that's a little disappointing because Pawan कोई छोटी मोटी नाम तो है नहीं. So the logical thing, I mean, it's not like किसी सिर्फ हमें नहीं मालूम है, by the way. हम fans या जो भी दूर से देख रहे हैं सिर्फ हमें नहीं मालूम है. Team physios, all these guys need seem to know what's happening. Like दूसरे टीम्स के इट्स ऑब्वियस ना, तुम देखोगे तो तुम्हें पता ही लग जाएगा कि ओके ये सीरियस है. उसका नी जिस एंगल में बेंड हुआ था, दैट डजंट लुक लाइक अ रेगुलर इंजरी. So when you,
या
the only thing, yeah, and Tamil Talaivas, honestly, Kabaddi is such a sport in Tamil Nadu. If you want to get your fans on board, if you want people to be a little more engaged, you need to involve them in the process. And it really sucks. हम लोग चेन्नई में बैठ रहे हैं, so I'm able to say this. It quite sucks that we don't have games in Chennai because अच्छा होता. हम लोग, हमारे लिए तो बैकयार्ड है. ऑफिस से 1 किलोमीटर जाना पड़ता है कबड्डी मैचेस देखने के लिए when PKL comes. So we are not able to do that. But if you really want your fans to come on board, especially after you've had poor season after poor season after poor season, just involve them. Pawan was a great way to do that. Uska naam itna hi
या
bada hai that so many fans come into your fold. So अगर हमें कुछ information मिल जाता तो अच्छा होता. And for what it's worth, I hope Pawan recovers well and recovers without any recurring injury coming out of this, because that looked really bad. हमारे पास तो photos तो है नहीं, but if you go back to the stream of the match and see, his knee bent in a very awkward acute angle, which has to tell you that there's something gone wrong in that knee. Knee में impact
it
हुआ
looked
था,
it,
so
it, it it looked very bad.
yeah, it looked bad, exactly. So it's not bone jutting Premier League type bad, but it looked bad. अगर हम लोग वहाँ होते
Yeah,
तो शायद एक click भी सुनाई देता, who knows. So I really hope कि his recovery happens well. He seems to be resting. Everybody seems to be meeting him in his hotel room, but we don't know what his injury status is. So I hope we get some information about how he's doing going forward. But Tamil
yeah.
Talaivas has to step up. And
Apart
Narendra,
from this, yeah, I was coming to the
yeah,
same point कि नरेंद्र, लाइक उनके एब्सेंस में उन्होंने स्टेप अप किया है. 10 पॉइंटर उन्होंने गेम लिया था.
yeah,
एंड आल्सो लाइक देयर इज अ guy named Sagar, like who's captaining the team, Sagar Rathi.
Rathi,
This
yeah,
this
he's been
this
hot or cold हुआ है इस first week में. Surprisingly, Sagar अच्छा था last season with Surjit. He was really good in defense, but this time I don't know if captaincy is weighing him down. वो हो सकता है, who knows.
yeah.
Sagar has been given captaincy instead of Pawan. So this is, and honestly, this is a very unenviable place to be in. Your lead raider is out. Your one huge, that raiding benefit, who I think some 15, 16 points, आराम से you could have banked on Pawan. That's gone. He's basically there Manjeet and Surinder Gill. No, बिना देखे वो point निकाल के आ जाएगा and he's not there. So Sagar's responsibility is now increased, but he's been okay, but that shouldn't reflect on his form. He's a very good defender. He's too good a defender to not be involved in match proceedings. So
Yeah,
Tamil Talaivas will need to fix that very, very soon.
yeah,
Okay, fair point.
yeah.
Next, you Mumba. Go for it.
Do you want
Tell
to
me what you
start?
thought.
Do you want to start? Okay.
I have too many things to say about you, Mumba, but that's also because Fazal is not there. For me, it's still Fazal's team. That block he's been there for too long to not look at it as Fazal's
Yeah,
team. But yeah,
yeah.
how badly are they missing that guy? Just in captaincy, not on the mat. On the mat, last season itself, he had faded away. But they need,
No, but
they,
like Umoma looked incomplete without Fazil. Also, like this team, I can notice that it's imbalanced. I could say. Like, I I hope to be wrong in long term, but inexperienced team है, वो उसमें कोई शक नहीं है. थोड़ी इम्बैलेंस भी लगी है, बट ऐसा नहीं है कि सब कुछ नेगेटिव है। सुरेंद्र सिंह ने जो उस कैप्टेंसी निभाई है, काफी लोग को शक भी था कि उनको कैप्टेंसी देना चाहिए था, एक अच्छा डिसीजन था कि नहीं, बट एज ऑफ नाउ अब तक उन्होंने ठीक ठाक प्रदर्शन किया है एज अ कैप्टन, एज अ डिफेंडर। आई वुड से कि उन्होंने उतना खराब नहीं किया अभी तक। और जय भगवान के रूप में उन्होंने एक बढ़िया प्रोस्पेक्ट मुझे दिखता नजर आ रहा है एज अ रीडर। तो these are two three things which can go in the way for you Mumba, but apart from this there is a lot to ponder for you Mumba.
That's right. What really affects them is the fact that Guman Singh is not firing, and
Yeah.
that they can't go on like this. They can't go on by banking on just their secondary raiders, which in this case are people like Ankush, Ashish, very unheralded names, Shivam, Kamlesh. They've got a whole list. Even Jay Bhagwan, for that matter, he was good in the last game. The last game that they played, he was really, really good. But what is going wrong with Guman Singh? क्या हो रहा है? He's making mistakes, or he's उनकी मैट अवेयरनेस बहुत कम हो गई. I don't know why. If it's just rustiness or what it is. If that gets better during the season, that's great. But Guman Singh needs to fire. He's been roped in for that amount of money because of how he was with Patna Pirates. And with Patna Pirates, he had a great season. When he started being used regularly, he had a great season. So he needs to figure out what's going wrong there so that they can really start stepping up. Otherwise, ये पिछले season का ही same story. There also it was just Abhishek and Ajit, but दो थे. Whatever said and done, there were two raiders who were scoring points. Less, more, whatever, they were scoring points. So this time they don't have that luxury. So they need to be a little better off there. I don't think they miss Fuzzle the player, they miss Fuzzle the captain, which is, I don't know, what can you do? You just need to get over it. अभी कितना रोएंगे? 2 matches हो गए, so get over it and go forward. What can you do? He's not going to play a part for you. You've got a very, very young team. Surinder is not a bad captain at all. He knows, he's been around in this setup for so long, and he's been part of very potent defending units. So, and he's been good. He's been better. I like what I've seen 1 week of him here than the entire season last time. So I'm actually looking forward to what more Surinder Singh can do. What I would like him to do is involve Rinku. Rinku is too good a defender to not be a part of things. He's being very slow, बहुत unsure है अपने performances पे. वो just पड़ा रहता है in whatever corner he's given, which is not great. Rinku, if you guys remember, pulled off a solo tackle pretty marvelously last season. उसका video कहीं पड़ा होगा. I'll put it in the description of this video. It was brilliant, and that itself tells you his pedigree as a defender. So if Rinku gets involved a little more, if you have a little more brute strength coming in along with everything else that you come forward with, the smartness and just your intelligence as a defender, तो ये team की नक्शा ही बदल जाएगी यार. Which is what, these are great players and these are players with PKL experience. So उन्हें इतना tentative नहीं होना चाहिए. Yumumba का problem ही यही है, that they are tentative. And these are one-time champions. So to get back there, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. और ये फजल की डिपार्चर के बारे में सोच सोच के हो गया उसका ऑक्शन के बाद. You had 2 months to cry about that. Now get over it and start figuring out a fresh legacy.
You Mumba were a beast in initial seasons,
Yeah,
and then like they started slowly fading and fading. But
yeah.
yeah, the only good thing happened is like the win they caught against UP Yothas. Like we can say it's a what consolation
Consolation
win.
win.
But
How
like
mean?
no offense to anyone, any Yumumba fans, please. But
Wow.
I would hope Yumumba to do better.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not convinced about this team. Umumba's win was more because of UP Yoddha's
UP
failures
Yothas
than,
failure. Correct,
yeah, UP
correct.
Yoddha's failures than unka koi brilliance. So if you look at it there, it was quite evenly poised actually. 30-23 क्या ही होता है यार? It's just crucial moments में तुम लोग, the only thing that set Umumba apart was they managed to effect 2 all-outs, which UP Yodha couldn't do. So उधर से ही आ गए ना तेरे दो points. 4 points come from there itself. So it can't come down to that. While it's great that you've managed to do this, if they go against UP Yodha one more time when there's that repeat fixture, they're not going to have it this easy. UP Yodha
For
has
sure,
figured out
for
where
sure.
its strengths are, and they're playing to those strengths. So much so that Surinder Gill came out as the lead raider in
Yeah,
this match, yesterday's match against the Bang Delhi,
yeah.
which is great, lovely strategy that is. Whosever idea that was, good that they've done that and they have taken Pardeep back, which is good. At least then you don't sacrifice a point up front. So this is going to be this league is going to get very difficult. I think they're going to take some time to settle into this new sort of order. They have a they have an experienced coach, but a relatively new name in the PKL circuit. Who assistant coach they Anil Chaprana, but he's taken over after
The team.
Guru
Yeah.
has has left them. So he's also got a fair amount of legacy building to do with this side. So how they go forward will be interesting for teams to see, because these problems will recur for teams in this league when their legends start fading one by one. जब एक राहुल चौधरी निकल जाता है या फिर कोई और निकल जाता है, how do you sort of
Cope up with it.
how do you how do you sort of figure out how to go about it? So that's how Mumba gets through. That will be interesting. अगला टीम भी आपका ही है मयंक जी,
Yeah.
यूपी योद्धास, बोल दीजिए. आई नो यू आर वेरी
जिसके
एक्साइटेड,
बारे में आधा, या या
बात कर ही रहे हैं हम उनके बारे में. Some it
उनके
seems
बारे में बात या
the child in my block also seems to be very excited when I said UP Yodha. So clearly, take us through what you've seen. Take us through what you've seen of their performances.
I guess like there is a contrasting difference between this UP Yoda team and Bengal Warriors team. Like Bengal Warriors started with a loss, and then they managed to win the next two games. And UP Yoda started with a win, and they like in a way lost the two games. Although टीम वाइज आई डोंट थिंक कि खराब टीम है, एक अच्छी टीम है. इंडिविजुअली बहुत सॉलिड सॉलिड प्लेयर्स हैं. एज अ टीम कैसा खेलते हैं ये लॉन्ग टर्म में नजर आएगा. लेकिन जो जिस जिस बात से मैं सबसे ज्यादा इम्प्रेस्ड हूँ वो है, जो पहले भी मैंने गलती से बोल दिया था, जिनका नाम सुरेंद्र गिल. 21 पॉइंट रेट मैच. उफ, व्हाट अ मैच. इतना अकेले दम पे उन्होंने यूपी योद्धास को एंड तक रखा. और प्रदीप नरवाल जिस टीम में हो उनको सेकंड फिडल खिलाना सुरेंद्र गिल के आगे, दिस शोज की यूपी योद्धास हैज डन थिंग्स राइट. क्योंकि उनको पता है कि प्रदीप नरवाल अब उस फॉर्म में नहीं है. ऑल्दो ही हैज टेकन पॉइंट्स 7-5-7 करते उन्होंने 7-5 के ऊपर हर मैच में उन्होंने पॉइंट्स लिए हैं, लेकिन अपने पीक फॉर्म में नहीं है. तो इस टाइम पे सुरेंद्र गिल का अपनी गेम को अप करना, इट इज गुड फॉर देम. बट या दो मैच जो कि जीत सकते थे, ऐसा नहीं था कि मतलब हवा में चला गया मैच और पीछे ही पड़े हुए हैं. लेकिन दो ऐसे मैच जो कि यूपी योद्धास अपनी गलती की वजह से आ रहे हैं कि इट शुड बी 3-0 विक्ट्री फॉर देम. तीनों के तीनों इनको जीतने चाहिए थे. अभी टेबल टॉपर्स हुए होते, अभी उनके बारे में बात कर रहे होते. ये अपनी गलती की वजह से ज्यादा इन्होंने मैचेस गंवाए हैं, ना कि दूसरों की बढ़िया प्रदर्शन के बजाय.
सही बात. I think what also is interesting about this team is the fact that Nitin Tomar is healthy. He featured in the starting 7 in the previous game against Dabang Delhi, which I am very happy about. Puneri Paltan, when they'd taken him last year, he was supposed to be their support raider. But what UP Yodhas are doing now is they're using him in defense, which is the way to go forward. Unke raiding years are behind him, and his fitness also is a little questionable. I don't know what his niggle is. Like, he had a knee. There was a knee injury that ruled him out through the entire of last year. So to see him back and to see him confidently back is great. And he brings a sense of calm to this team. So जब pace थोड़ा ज़्यादा हो जाता है and this team can't cope up, then Nitin Tomar is there to say calm down, थोड़ा लंबा रेड करो या डिफेंस में थोड़ा और टाइम लो, इतना टैकल्स मत दो. सो
इतनी मैच्योरिटी, इतना एक्सपीरियंस है इस टीम में.
या
तो
बहुत
एक्सपीरियंस वाइज वन ऑफ दी बेस्ट टीम है. इनके पास नितिन तोमर, इनके पास गिल, इनके पास पवन, सॉरी माफ करिएगा, इनके पास प्रदीप नरवाल है. तो एक बढ़िया टीम है, इंडिविजुअली सॉलिड टीम है. एक साथ एकजुट मिलके खेलेंगे तो मुझे लगता है कि ये प्लेऑफ्स तक तो पक्का जाएंगे.
Actually, इस टीम में I am interested to see how Abozar Megani fits, because Telugu Titans में he was poor. Poor is being kind to him, knowing how good he is. He's such a good defender, but advanced tackles देता रहा, थोड़ा ज़्यादा ही भावुक होते नजर आए last season. So when he does join this team, whenever that is, how he fits into this scheme of things will be very interesting. I don't think उनको starting 7 में जगह मिलेगा, seeing the kind of names this team has already. So UP Yodha is actually very, very strong team. Best defense in the league so far. And that's really saying something. Very tight. No leaks, nothing whatsoever. But they need to maintain their एक जो momentum है, they need to maintain it for all 40 minutes. They faded
Yeah.
in the second half.
Yeah.
And they allowed Dabang Delhi to come back and score that win, which should not have happened at all. So if they can manage to do that, like people like Durgesh, Rohit Tomar have been very good now. It's just, and these are raiders, Baba, and they still get involved in tackles. So to see them actually play both ways is very encouraging.
Yeah.
Okay, so next up, we have three teams left, and we're going to go through these three teams very quickly because I realize we've been talking for 1 hour and 15 minutes. तो हमें भी खाना सब खाना है बहुत भूख लगी है and भूख शायद because we're used to having PKL action around this time but we don't have that today. So we'll have to get used to that. But we've got Patna Pirates, Puneri Paltan, and Telugu Titans to talk about.
Yeah.
Telugu Titans, particularly, one big update is that Rajneesh is okay. It's not as bad as it looked. Like we all assumed कि Rajneesh को भी Pawan type का कोई injury हो गया था, but it looks like he's only pulled a hamstring. It's a hamstring injury, and I think about what एक हफ्ता शायद he'll be out, and we should then expect him to come back. So not too much bad news on that front. But as a team itself, I think what really works for this side, I am so happy to see Monu Goyat doing well. There is Monu Goyat's storyline is so interesting. He was at one point the most expensive player in this league, and then he moved to a couple of champion sides which had very strong prospects to win. And then he had a complete fall from grace. इस बार क्या एक crore एक वक्त पे he had commanded in the auction, and this time he went for 20 lakhs, which if you look at all these Swabhimani people who come and say अरे क्या बेइज्जती हो गई, if you have to look at it like that, it's like हीरे का कदर ही नहीं है. 20 lakhs में कौन लेता है इस टाइप का player, but he's such a utility man, and he was a utility man for Patna Pirates. He's proving to be a utility man here as well. I don't want to be too hasty in saying this early on. I hope because he also has this problem of turning up in one match, not turning up in the other match. So that's something they'll have to guard against. But Monu Goyat's striking form is great news for Telugu Titans, which means he will be able to support people who are struggling like Siddharth Desai, which can only mean good things. Siddharth Desai is coming back this season after missing most of last season with a shoulder injury, and that was a
Yeah.
bad shoulder injury. And this man is he's a very awkwardly moving raider. कोई grace नहीं है सिद्धार्थ देसाई के बारे में. He's very brutish. आता है, he'll mow down your people or he'll just like push through everybody and come forward. So there's no agility there. It's just strength. So for a player like this, you need to calm them down when things get a little difficult. So they will miss Rajneesh because Rajneesh as a substitute was a very point taking substitute. So aata tha quick points and he'll go. He in fact got a super 10 also in that match that he featured in. So to
What do
see
you
how
think when what do you think when Rajneesh comes in, Monu is performing, and then Siddharth is
Monu
also
will sit
like
out. Monu might
complimenting?
sit out. No, Monu might sit out. It's okay.
Is
That
there
is the
any
role
way
that he
is
has.
no is there any way which in like all the three players can play up front?
Why should they? That is the other thing. No. So if you have, see, again, the easiest swap there for Rajneesh would be Abhishek Singh. Abhishek Singh also is coming off an injury. So he has not been able to find his footing yet. It's not that seamless yet. So the easiest person to replace would be Abhishek Singh. But I don't think they'll start Rajneesh anyway. And karna bhi nahi chahiye. Rajneesh's role as a starter, he's been proven as a substitute. So it's great if he comes in later on. You can save him, see what the match situation is like, and then bring him. If Mono continues to even get five-ish points a match, and even if they sub him out midway, that's fine. That's his job done. They've got people like Ankit Beniwal, not used so much yet. They have Abhishek Singh to hai. They have Vinay. Vinay has been good. Vinay has been a very, very good tertiary raider. They've used him more than they've used Monu. Monu came in the last match, but Vinay has worked in attack and defense for them, despite being on paper a pure raider. So that's great. What I really liked about Telugu Titans, which by the way have Manjeet Chiller as their assistant coach, Manjeet Chiller is a hot-headed man. Okay, so he doesn't take people not listening to strategy lightly. So the decision for them to remove Ravinder Pahel in the last game, I don't know if it's an injury motivated decision. ये तो नहीं पता कि उनको कोई निगल हुआ है या कुछ if there's something going wrong there. पर रविंदर पहल सल्क करके वहां साइड पे बैठे थे throughout that match, and he is underperforming. He's underperformed last year. He's underperforming this year. So to see that decision being taken, कि it doesn't matter आपकी क्या seniority है, you're not performing, you don't get to be in the side is a very, very strong statement to come from this Telugu Titans unit. I think if Vishal Bharatwaj continues to play the way he's playing, that sword might fall on his head also, because he's
Yeah.
also a head who doesn't think very as often as he should when he's defending. So they've got on paper this Telugu Titans team was built as one of the best teams in the league, and that's because you have people like Parvesh Banswal, Vishal Bharatwaj, Surjit Singh, Ravinder Pahl, सारे के सारे stars हैं. So एक ऐसी टीम में अगर आप डिफेंसिव पॉइंट्स रेक अप नहीं कर पाते, देन व्हाट इज़ द पॉइंट? इतना पैसा गवा के इतने लोगों को अंदर लाने की पॉइंट क्या होती है? So their defense has to step up. Siddharth Desai and Monu have had one good game, but I will not talk about them yet. अगले गेम में ज़रूर कुछ हो जाएगा कांड. So we'll wait. We'll wait and see what happens to this raiding unit and how they.
Telugu Titans has Telugu Titan has big names. Like on
Yeah,
papers, like yeah, as you have rightly mentioned,
all-star team,
सारे बड़े
all-star
नाम
team.
हैं.
Yeah,
Yeah, like अगर playing 7 देखो तो सारे लगेंगे legends हैं. लेकिन
हाँ.
yeah, if they are not performing now, so that's a matter of concern for them right now.
Yeah, that's right. That is right. From an all-star team to a slightly depleted team is what we're going to in Patna Pirates. Patna Pirates have, in a couple of seasons ago itself, lost Pardeep Narwal. Then now they're left. Guman is left. Monu is left. They're left with Sachin, sort of dealing with raiding responsibilities almost entirely, which I am not happy with at all. Sachin solely raiding will mean you are also opening up to injuries. बिकॉज अगर उसी पे आप डिपेंड करके पॉइंट्स लाने की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी उन पे डालोगे देन दैट डजंट वर्क. You have people like Sukesh Hegde who they've roped in after the auction. You have Vishwas also who's been decent. Either other he's been good in patches. And you have Rohit Gulia. Rohit Gulia is probably the most exciting prospect in that team. बहुत ही अच्छा ऑलराउंडर है, works in defense and attack. And the unfortunate part is your responsibility increases when you're that kind of a player. Sort of सारा बोझ आप ही पे आ जाती है when you need to rally a team that's underperforming. Patna has not won a game yet. Am I right about that? I don't think they've won a
Yeah,
game yet, have they?
yeah,
I've lost track of their results. Take a minute. Let me just quickly check that. Patna has lost both their games. Yes. 30-21 to Telugu Titans was surprising. They allowed these two guys to come back in form. And the next team that they play is Bengal Warriors, which is again very similar. Bengal and Patna have very similar problems. सोल्ड रेडर एक ही रेडर पे डिपेंडेंस दूसरे फायर नहीं करते both have potent all-rounders that need to fire consistently. So these are things that can really this will be a very interesting game actually to watch to see who gets ahead. And one thing that I did not understand this week is Mohammad Reza Shadlu is back for Patna Pirates. He featured in this Telugu Titans game, but why did they play him? He had traveled a couple of hours before he featured in that game and he cramped up. Middle of that game, he cramped up. But वो cramp अलग बात है. He didn't get involved in too many tackles. कुछ नहीं किया. He had a couple of successful tackles in the second half. He had a couple of points here and there. But in the first half, वो just खड़ा था वहाँ in that left corner. Instead, what you've done is you've removed Tyagarajan and Yuvraj for Shadlu to accommodate Shadlu. And Yuvraj had a couple of points to his name and was involving himself in tackles. He was actively involved in that defense. So why you would make that swap in the very first game after this man has come back from Iran is beyond me. क्या जल्दी क्या है? We could have waited a match, seen what Shadlu's fitness is, eased him into the process and put him in. Now the issue is, if this is your starting incentive, people know that if this is how he's going to play, you can pick points off him. It's not that hard. So I was a little surprised. I think that was a wasted decision. In fact, if Yuvraj was there, I don't know if they would have won against Telugu Titans, but I'm sure that margin could have been lesser to some
yeah.
extent. So that is something I don't really, I'm not happy with that to see that happening, but I'm glad Shadlu's back because Shadlu is a huge name for this team. Last season also, he had a quiet couple of first games and Rammeer Singh speaks about this. He says Shadlu ki jo work rate hai, he has instilled that in him. Like the Patna Pirates setup has instilled that discipline in him to sort of work him according to the demands of the PKL. So then also last season also he took a couple of games to really come into his own enough to sort of trigger Patna Pirates to think whether they made a mistake in getting him on board at all. And then he became this super tackle specialist who just went ahead and did some really good stuff for this team. So if they want that Shadlu, he needs to get into the scheme of things, get into the grind quickly. And wasting him in this match was against, I don't think it was very counterproductive. So I don't know how they've got a couple of games rest mila hai unko. So I hope they really figure out what their strategy is and they need to find a way to support Sachin. Sachin ka ye jo lone wolf act hai wahan, it's getting tiring to watch, to see him frustratingly go there and something they need to create a raiding network there for them to fire better. To see Patna languishing in the second half is ridiculous yaar. Last time के runner ups थे, एक season में इतना क्या गिर गया है quality? That's not fair. So they need to figure out their strategies quickly. They have a new coach. So I'm sure the coaching philosophy also, it's a complete rejig. Despite some of the players staying back, the coaching philosophy changes. You don't have Ram Meher there anymore. So there's a lot to prove for this team. And how they do it is something we'll have to wait and watch. Another team that has a coaching change and has player changes is Puneri Paltan, which I see we had a couple of questions about. Puneri Paltan jeetega kya?
Questions. Yeah.
Yeah, I am going to be very honest. Puneri Paltan is one of my favorite teams in the league. I really like the squad. And what really surprises me is कि Anup Kumar built this team and Anup Kumar is not there. That really surprises me. ये जो सारे youngsters हैं have come up under him. In that Yuva Paltan, they've got a youth team. They've come up under him. Some of them, like Aslam and all these guys, have taken that route into the team. So to see Anup Kumar not there is surprising for me just a little bit. But Bhaskaran has not Bhaskaran, RB Ramesh, who's their coach, has a lot of his credentials are amazing. So there's no question he's won the PKL with Bengal Warriors, so they've got a good coach there. But the fact that they didn't have Fazal showed, not in defense but in captaincy. पुणे का एक प्रॉब्लम था कि उनके सारे गेम्स का पेस बहुत ज्यादा था, तो वो बह गए उस पेस में. लाइक दे वेंट विद द मोमेंटम. आइदर उस मोमेंटम में they'd keep scoring points and they'd keep catching up, or when things went against them, then it would go against them so badly that they would struggle to recover, which happened in the Bengaluru game when they trailed by
Yeah.
7 points. So that's the thing. Their deficit happened as drastically, their rise happened as drastically. But the difference being, when it came down to a crucial moment where they had to pick a couple of points, nobody was there to calm them down. So
Yeah.
that is something that Fazal brings to this team. So I'm really excited. Fazal is back. Fazal and Nabi Baksh are back. They're training with the team right now. I think we'll see them. They play tomorrow, right? They play on Friday, Puneri Paltan, against Gujarat Giants. Very good. So to see Fazal has an easy game actually to sort of figure his space out in this team. But Fazal as a defender is a worry. He's not consistent anymore. I don't know if he has worked on those gaps in his game. When he was with U Mumba, one of the things that he said was key captaincy is weighing him down a little bit. He kept saying that. So this team is no better, except that this team has so many more options. So it's not that ye perform nahi karega to aur koi nahi hai. This team has a good balance in
Yeah.
both ways, and it's great to see him having Nabi Baksh. This is one dream combo to see Fazal and Nabi Baksh play. This is a proper auction coup. So to see how they figure this out will be interesting.
No,
So these
without,
guys,
yeah, without
huh?
those Iranian players, even then Puneri Patna, sorry, Puneri Paltan doesn't had the service of Fazal and Nabi Baksh. Like they didn't do that bad
Yeah, they were
because
not bad
like
at all.
Aslam and all, like it is a solid team. And like
Yeah,
yeah, as like we also got the questions, like they have the huge fan base as well. So
yeah.
people are asking जीतेगी कि नहीं, तो वो तो
Pune
दिखेगा
सबसे
आगे वाले.
strong. We've had
Yeah,
somebody called Aditya YT say Pune सबसे
YT.
strong hai. Fazal Nabi's back. Yeah, but
Yeah,
in terms of youngsters,
I can
this
agree
is
to
a
it.
ridiculous team. Yeah, very very good, very strong on paper in terms of youngsters. Mohit Goyat, Aslam Inamdar. What I liked was what I saw of Gaurav Khatri. Gaurav Khatri was quite interesting in the last game. I think when he played against शायद यही था ना बंगाल बंगाल था कि बेंगलुरु के गेम में था. When did Gaurav Khatri come forward? Hold on. Puneri Paltan, when it was in the Bengaluru team, in the Bengaluru game only. Gaurav Khatri was quite interesting. I liked what I saw of him. They've got Abhinesh Natarajan, who I think is injured. If uh, if I remember correctly, BC Ramesh said that Abhinesh Natarajan is injured, but when he comes in full flow, I think they'll be a better team at the back. They've got Mohit Goyat, Pankaj Mohite. Unka Raiders bench strength itna strong hai. They have Aslam, Mohit, Pankaj, Akash Shinde. Then they have Aditya Shinde. They have one Saurabh. They have now Nabi Baksh. So you can just see this is such a solid team.
Immense depth.
Immense depth. If they don't make the playoffs, they should be very disappointed with themselves.
Yeah, yeah, for
This
sure.
is one team I can close my eyes and say will make the playoffs. Please jinx na karo, Bhagwan. But this is
We
one team
need
that you can.
we need that mandir ki ghanti now for the
मंदिर की घंटी
blessings.
हो गई, सब घर चले गए. We've been talking for that long. एक 1.5 hours हो गए, which we will wrap up now in a couple of minutes. But yeah, this is a strong team. If they don't make it to the playoffs, they have only themselves to blame. And Fazal coming back should. I am actually very interested to see how Pune negotiates Fazal's role, because they need him more as the captain than as a player. Points zaruri nahi hai. They need Fazal to calm that team down. to use his experience and tell them how to negotiate very crucial passages of play. So when they start playing teams like UP Yodha, for instance, they'll need that because UP Yodha will run away with the game in terms of their pace. Surinder Gill काफी है इनको दबाने के लिए. So they need that calm head on the shoulder kind of thing. And it'll be nice to see Aslam relieved of captaincy. I hope that happens because then वो अपना game खेल पाएगा. So to have a strong team and to see how they go forward will be really, really interesting. So we've actually spoken for very long. I'm sorry, you guys might, if anybody's interested in going back, you'll have to actually go back and listen to what we spoke. But I'll see if I can make timestamps available. ये individual teams की जो analysis थी, आप हमारी जो राय हैं उनसे सहमत हो सकते हैं या नहीं सहमत हो सकते हैं. That's fine. But what we would really request you to do is support what we're doing. We'd like to come every week and talk to you guys. आपसे बात करना चाहते हैं, आपकी राय जानना चाहते हैं पीकेएल के बारे में. ये सारे जो प्लेयर्स हैं ये मिट्टी के प्लेयर्स हैं, मिट्टी से जाके मड में जाके अपना जो काम कर रहे हैं. इट्स रियली इंटरेस्टिंग टू वॉच. एंड आगे जाके आपको बहुत सारे इंटरव्यूज, बहुत सारी एक्सक्लूसिव इंटरेक्शंस हमने लाइन अप किए हैं जो एक एक करके हम लोग अपलोड करेंगे इस चैनल में. तो आपकी जो पीकेएल का वीकली फिक्स है, आप प्लीज़ जुड़ते रहिए हमारे साथ एवरी वीक एट 7 o'clock ऑन थर्सडे. Mayank और मैं आ जाएंगे. We've got a couple of more of our colleagues who will be joining us in PKL coverage, so we'll make sure to add them in as well. जैसे जैसे हफ्ते चले जाते हैं तो. And hopefully we'll have a player or two here as well. So keep watching this space. हम लोग रोज blog करते हैं. We have copies going up every day. There's a lot of analysis and coverage that happens on Sportstar. So please go and check that out as well. Mayank, any last thoughts? इस week,
Rahul,
हाँ नहीं जाने से
yeah,
पहले इस हफ्ते which matches are you looking forward to? Or any matchup that you're looking forward
okay,
to
before
this
that,
week?
okay,
Bolo.
yeah, before that, I would want to ask you a question. Like, what's the update about Iranian players? Like, you were telling that they are in India and they will be playing. So, what's
They
the
are in
official
India.
update?
So
Is there any official update?
there's no official update. But there's no league update, rather. There's nothing from the league officially. But what we do know is a couple of these teams have started posting that their players have started joining them. So, for instance, Shadlu we saw on the mat. Nabi and Fazal are back for Pune. They've been training with the team. I personally don't know what's happening with the other teams, Telugu Titans and all of those, but that'll be information that we can put out for you guys tomorrow. We'll know closer to tomorrow ki kaun वापस आ गया कौन नहीं. What we do know is the players are making their way back. So this week you'll see the Iranian players feature for whichever teams they've been roped in by. Delay इसलिए शायद हुआ था because ये ईरान में जो protests हो रहे हैं, because of that there's been a fair amount of internet blockage and stuff like that. So we are assuming, at least that's what sources say, that that was the problem, like to get communication and tickets to them and all that, that this was the delay. But they've found their way back to India and they'll be here with us for the rest of the season. So no harm done there. So hopefully, no more delays. Hopefully, ye hafta, no more injuries. Leave everything else. I just hope that we're not talking about any other player twisting their knee, twisting their arm next Thursday. बस ये हो जाए तो ठीक हो जाएगा.
Okay, so
Yes.
answering to the question you have asked, there is two very exciting games coming on. First is on October 16th, UP Yodhas versus Bengaluru Bulls. I guess this would be a very, very good match because again we have already talked about how Surinder Gill and then Vikash Kandola का जो रेडर वर्सेस रेडर आमना सामना होगा और ये दोनों स्ट्रॉन्ग टीम है, ऊपर टॉप की टीमें हैं, तो इन दोनों के बीच का मैचअप इज लाइक वर्थ टू वॉच. And next days on October 17th, Dabang Delhi versus Haryana Steelers. Dabang Delhi 3 out of 3, Haryana Steelers 2 out of 2. तो let's see कि winning streak कौन कंटिन्यू करता है, क्या टाई होगा, वो आगे आने वाले दिनों में देखेंगे हम. लेकिन ये दो मैचेस हैं which is definitely going to be very interesting.
Nice. Fair enough. So let's hope that things go interesting this week as well, and we have a lot to talk about next week. Thank you, whoever's joined this. I mean, even if you watched it in bits, it's fine. Please keep supporting us. Please इस वीडियो को एक लाइक मारिए और स्पोर्ट्सस्टार को भी सब्सक्राइब कर लीजिए. We've got a lot of PKL content. हमने सीजन 7 में, हाल ही की ये पुरानी बात है, but सीजन 7 में we had done this series called Kings of Kabaddi, where we had spoken to Vikash, Pawan, Rahul, we lot of people, Siddharth, बहुत सारे लोग थे, which you can go and check out. I mean, उनकी stories के बारे में ही है, तो it doesn't matter if their team colors have changed. उसका लिंक मैं इस एपिसोड में डाल दूंगी. Plus, I will give you the links to all our resources this time from Sportstar, so where you can follow schedules, games, anything, wherever you can find resources to follow PKL with Sportstar, I will drop them in the description. अभी के लिए इतना ही, बहुत भूख लगी है, तो एक दिन का रेस्ट हो जाए अच्छे से, एक दिन अच्छे से सोएंगे, एंड वी विल बी बैक टू कवर PKL tomorrow. Please join us when we get back to live blogging and everything. Mayank and I will be there with you tomorrow. And if you have any feedback for our coverage or for even this video, if you want to tell us ki background badlo, ye karo, wo karo, which a lot of people keep telling us when we stream usually, please feel free. You can either comment on this video or you can find us on social media and give us your feedback. We'd love to hear from you. कम्युनिटी में इन्वॉल्व ही तो होना है, तो आपको अगर कोई राय बोलनी है, इफ यू वांट टू जॉइन अस और यू नो गिव अस क्वेश्चंस फॉर नेक्स्ट वीक और थिंग्स टू talk about next week, we're happy to listen to that as well. Okay, Mayank, चले जाएं अभी के लिए.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you all for joining us. Shubh Ratri. We will meet you next week. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.